the Vietnamese, who've had a fabulous tournament already in terms of swimming, thanks to a certain Nguyen Thian Vien. She's also slated for a couple of events. Their fans have turned up. So too have Team Singapore, and a lot of Malaysians here to watch, not just Wilson, but also Joseph Schooling in the warm-up pool, getting ready. That's the figure of Gary, along with a couple of Vietnamese and the swimmers all set and ready to do battle for day 3. Singapore with 6 gold medals already, as we have a look at the swimming schedule for today, starting with the men's 100 meters butterfly and ending with the women's 4x200 meters freestyle relay. Kwa Ting Wen will be swimming in the relay, but preceding that, she will be involved in 2 individual events, the 100 meters freestyle final, the 50 meters butterfly final, and her brother Kwa Ting Wen also goes in the event before the final relay, which of course is the 200 meters backstroke for men. It was 1 year and 11 days to this date that Southeast Asian swimming changed its face, when a certain Joseph Schooling clinched a gold medal at the Olympic Games in the 100 meters butterfly. And immediately it put this region on the map. It put this competition, the SEA Games, on the map, because he went on in the press conference a little later after his victory just to state that he earned it by racing and winning and learning how to win in this competition, the SEA Games, and from there on the confidence built. And today he is going to give back to the fans and to the games in itself in the way that he knows how to swim in the 100 meters butterfly, and that is a perfect way to start day 3 of competition, Gerald.
Yes, it is. I mean, the crowd looks pumped and excited for the day to start. Everyone's here to watch Joseph Schooling, the first Olympian from Southeast Asia, in the pool. So, and I think today's going to be a good day for Singapore swimming. The first 2 days we won 3 gold medals in each of those days, and today I think we could possibly see 4 to 5 gold medals from Singapore.
Well, that sounds like a very, very huge ambition to take with them, but it is a huge possibility as well. For Joe Schooling, this is the moment where we see what mood he is in and what form he is in. Triadi Fauzi will be there, all trying to beat him and take down an Olympic champion. Well, he's protecting a 10-race winning run in the SEA Games. He hasn't been beaten in the SEA Games in individual events since 2011, when he lost in the 200 meters individual medley. And we're also looking at time differences as well for the 100 meters butterfly, because I can tell you that the largest winning margin in the history of the 100 meters butterfly, the SEA Games, happened in 1983 when Ang Peng Seong beat Tae Kun Hien by 1.85 seconds. Let's see if Joseph is able to beat that time.
I think it'll be tough, but you can never count out Joe Schooling, right? So we'll see. I think if he hits 41 low, we could possibly see him beat that margin. Interestingly enough, I mean, we were just talking about it, the second fastest person in this race is actually not swimming. Our own Kwa Ting Wen, right?
That's right. Well, Joe Schooling has only lost 1 butterfly event at the SEA Games, and it was, believe it or not, ironically, this race, the race that gave him the Olympic gold medal. It happened in 2011 when he lost to Huang Ki-Fuk, who's also not in the field. Glenn Victor Sutanto perhaps has that boast because he finished in 2nd spot ahead of Joe in 2011 to say he beats Joe on that day in itself when Joe was making his SEA Games debut. All set and ready to go with the first event, and perhaps the most anticipated event of the day, only because an Olympic champion makes his appearance in the event that brought him all the glory and worldwide fame. The men's 100 meters butterfly, as the athletes prepare to come out. The SEA Games record 52.13 seconds, the Asian record and Olympic record 50.39 seconds. Both of them owned by this man, Joseph Isaac Schooling. The lineup for the race: Huyn Mandat of Vietnam, who finished 7th in the 200 meters butterfly, swims in lane number 1. Let's see if Joe is up for this now. The record in his sights. There he is. Since Ki-Fuk's win in 2011, the Vietnamese haven't medaled in this event. Chan Tie of Malaysia in lane 2. He was 8th in the 50 meters butterfly. Triadi Fauzi who set an Indonesian record in 2016 in Malaysia, is in lane 3. Glenn Victor Sutanto, who has medaled in 3 consecutive games, silver, bronze, silver, he's in lane number 4. And for the first time ever in the history of SEA Games swimming, we can say the words, here comes the Olympic champion. Dylan Koo, his compatriot, who was second at the Commonwealth Youth Games, is in lane 6. Navapat Wongcharoen of Thailand, who set a new national record at the Singapore National Age Group Champs earlier this year, he's in 7. And Nguyen Ngoc Huynh of Vietnam in lane 8, he finished 5th in the 200 meters butterfly. Chasing Schooling is the name of this game, while Schooling chases a record. The Malaysians are going to get a real treat here. An Olympic champion in the SEA Games event for the very first time. Dylan Koo has his very own ambitions of lowering his personal best time. He was 4th in the 50 fly and 5th in this event in 2015. The 2-time defending champion, of course, Joseph Schooling. Well, the big question here, Gerald, is whether Joseph Schooling is going to put on beast mode, because if he does, then we might see the first sub-52-second swim in SEA Games history. Now, before he came about, Joe Schooling, we were all amazed at the likes of Kee Fook and Daniel Bago clocking sub-54, sub-55. But that was what we term BS, before Schooling. That's a period that's almost unknown now, because since Joe has emerged, we are looking perhaps at the first ever sub-52-second swim in SEA Games history.
Yes, I think he's going to do sub-52. He's going to break that SEA Games record. That comes so naturally to him. Breaking 52 is something that he probably does in his training nowadays.
Triadi Fauzi keeping pace with him, but losing out right now. Joe Schooling going after the SEA Games record, becoming the first swimmer perhaps to go under 52 seconds at the SEA Games. He does 51.38 seconds, and he is 1.65 seconds ahead of Triadi Fauzi. Well, that's not the new largest margin of victory in SEA Games history. It is the 3rd largest margin of victory in SEA Games history, but still good enough for gold medal and a new SEA Games record. The first man ever in the SEA Games to go below 52 seconds is the Olympic champion, Joseph Schooling, naturally.
Well done. I think this is obviously not his best time, but I think Joe is probably happy with it. You know, he broke his SEA Games record, so he's obviously improved from 2 years ago. And I mean, that's his goal coming in here, not to do a best time, but simply just to win this race and break a record if possible.
Well, Triadi came out very quickly, didn't he? The Indonesian who finished second to Joe in the 50 meters butterfly, trying to keep pace with Joe. And he actually did all the way through until the touch of the wall. And this is where Joe does most of his business, off the wall. After that, you are not living on the same estate.
I think Joe was a little bit surprised at the first 50 that Triadi was almost in line with him. You saw Joe maybe 3 strokes into the wall. He took a look to the right to see who was that, you know, kind of on par with me, right? But after the turn on the wall, the underwater, you saw that Joe just used that 15 meters again to his advantage. Triadi, obviously his underwater kick is good as well, but he did not use that whole 50 meters. No one can compare to Joe when it comes to that.
Absolutely, one of the best in the world. He's won it 3 in a row now, the first since Daniel Bago to win it 3 in a row. So he and Bago, the only ones to go 3 in a row in this event. And another SEA Games record for him, the first sub-52 second swim in SEA Games history, done of course by Joseph Schooling, who now wins his 13th gold medal, and 13 gold medals takes him 3rd on the all-time list alongside a certain Richard Sambera. What a start we have to day 3 of competition from the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Center, the women's 100 meters freestyle. And you look at the list of swims today, you talk about splash and dash, it seems like it's a full day of sprints, isn't it? Makes it so exciting in terms of the heart rate.
It is. And next up, we've got the women's 100 meter freestyle, another exciting event that I think Singapore has a chance to win the gold medal in. We've got 2 sisters coming up right now.
Yep, Kwa Ting Wen and Kwa Ting Wen. The 2 of them, of course, will be favourites alongside Jasmine Al-Khaldi, who look very, very comfortable in the heats this morning. And Tingwen has worked on her, slowed down in the final 25 meters of the morning heats. That's the reason why she's in lane number 1. And Kwa Tingwen was pretty quick in the morning. As we welcome the swimmers, led by Risa Dewi. Kwa Tingwen, of course, who is in lane number 1, just ahead of Nguyen Tian Bien. Tingwen is the defending champion. Since 2007, this title has either gone to Kwa Tingwen or Nathanan Jongkrajang, and both of them are in the field. Before that, Jocelyn Yeo won it 7 in a row. So since 1993, there have only been 3 winners in this event. Will there be a 4th different winner now in this lady? Or will Kwa Tingwen retain her title? Or will Tingwen surprise as she did to her sister in the Singapore National Champs? Here she is, the defending champion, Kwa Tingwen. She's one of only 3 in the field to have cracked 56 seconds, and she has cracked it big time. 55.52 is her best. Nguyen Tian Bien, who finished 2nd in this event in 2015, she's in 2. Sapianchai Konjanan of Thailand, she is in lane number 3. Personal best 57.12 she swam at the AYG in 2013. Here's the lady that a lot of Filipinos have pinned their hopes on ending their gold drought in swimming. They haven't won a gold medal since 2009, not a gold medal for the Philippines in female swimming since 1993. Kwa Tingwen, well, if the title goes, can it still be kept in the Kwa family? She's already won a gold medal at these SEA Games. Nathanan Jongkrajang, Thailand's most successful swimmer at the SEA Games, is in lane number 6, champion in 07, 11 and 13. Nicole Justine Marie Oliver of the Philippines in 7, and Resa Dewi, who is more a long-distance swimmer in the freestyle, good enough to qualify for the finals in lane number 8. Her personal best this year, 57.07, set at the Singapore Nationals. That is the SEA Games record. Kwa Tingwen, the only person to have swum below 56 seconds at the SEA Games, and that happened in 2015. Well, Kwa Tingwen's tactics throughout the years has always been to go out very quick in the first 50 meters. She did that as well in 2015, and she has gone out very quick in lane number 1 already, almost half a body length ahead of Jasmine Al-Khaldi, who is keeping watch very closely on Tingwen's sister Jingwen.
It's going to be tough for Tingwen though, because she's in lane 1, so coming out on the first lap, she breathes to her left so she can still see where the competitors are. When she comes back, however, on the return leg, she's not going to be able to see where her competitors are. So hopefully she takes this race out on her own, right, following her own strategy.
Lanes 1 and 2 turning first after 50 meters, and what a brilliant turn that one was by Kwa Tingwen, off the wall already, using those butterfly kicks to perfection. The dolphin kicks doing superbly well for her, but Nguyen Tian Bien is coming right back. The Vietnamese on Kwa Tingwen. Does Kwa Tingwen have enough gas to hold on for the final 20 meters of this race? Tian Bien catching up very quickly, so too Jasmine Al-Khaldi, and so too Kwa Tingwen. This is almost a dead hit finish, and it will be Kwa Tingwen who's won it by 0.02 seconds against Nguyen Tian Bien, the closest race that we've had at the SEA Games so far, and she sheds tears of joy because she has managed to hold on at the last part. We thought she was struggling heading home, and how about that time? 55.74. That's an amazing quick time, not just by her but everyone in the field as well, to clock that time, and a superb race by Kwa Tingwen to retain that goal.
Look at those emotions. I mean, this is not her first gold medal. She's obviously wanted this really badly. It looked like the Vietnamese girl in lane 2, Tien Van, caught up with her a bit, but wonderful, amazing touch by Tingwen. She put her head down, she did not breathe into the wall, and she really reached out. And I think that's why she managed to win this event, just basically from the flag in, right? The last 5 strokes, she really did not breathe into the wall.
Absolutely right. That race was won by the start, the turn, and the finish. Kwa Tingwen managing to hold off Nguyen Tian Bien, who has to settle for silver yet again. And what an amazing victory. It was an easier one in 2015, but in 2017 she had to work hard for this, and boy did she put in everything inside that race to win the gold medal. 3rd time she's won the 100 meters freestyle at the SEA Games, and that, by the way, the 5th gold medal, 5th individual gold medal in Kwa Tingwen's SEA Games medal collection, and that puts her 5th on the all-time list alongside Nicolette Teo. Amazing times by all swimmers, you have to say. First time at the SEA Games that 3 swimmers have cracked 56 seconds.
Very interesting event, and we saw that after the event, Ting Wen straight away did not go for media interviews. She's going back to go and warm down, given that she's got 3 events today, right? And we know she has the 50-meter butterfly, where she's the defending champion as well. So good for her that she's going back, not doing media interviews, and make sure that she's back recovered physically for the next race.
There are 4 more events to go, because both Gerald and I are feeling breathless already after 100 meters butterfly. We thought that was a perfect start to the menu for the night, and then the 100 meters freestyle, the closest race that we've seen so far at these SEA Games. And as if that's not enough, our next one is probably the race that Gerald says that he's been looking forward to the most throughout the day, the 200 meters freestyle for men.
It is. It's a tough race. The 200 meters, it's not a sprint, it's not a distance event. So, you have both sprinters that are doing it, people that swim the 100 meters, that are doing this 200 meter race, and you're seeing more of the distance guys, the 400 meter guys doing this 200 meter race as well. And you'll see very different strategies being played out. I think Kee Fook, you probably see Kee Fook take it out. He took it out very quick this morning. I think he's going to do the same thing as well this evening, take it out, and hopefully he can hang on for the gold medal. But obviously on the other side, you've got Daniel Bagel, who's swimming next to him. Daniel Bagel is known for his second half, right? He likes to negative split his 200 meters, and I love seeing him swim the 200 meters because he just comes back so quick on his second 100.
Well, let's not forget as well, there is a certain Danny Yeo in the field, and he is also a past champion in this event, having won it in 2011, and Singapore's hopes go with him and Pang Sheng Jin. But the hot favorites in the race will be Wilson Sim of Malaysia. Well, on paper it looks like this 200 meters freestyle final will be between the Malaysian and the Vietnamese, but Danny might have something to say with it. Maybe there might be a final golden fling for a certain Daniel Bagel. Well, Bago's scratched himself from the field, I believe, and they might have changed it around, or did they get the order wrong? Because on our list here, it looks as if Daniel Bago is still in it. If he's not in it, then Putra has taken his place, and that is a real shame, because we'd love to see the reception that Bago would have gotten from the Indonesian audience.
That's strange, because he doesn't have any more events this evening.
Absolutely right. The 4x200 for men happens tomorrow night, so he can't be saying that he's saving himself up for that, unless something happened between the heats where he looked all right and the finals in itself. Well, that's a mystery to be solved by the inquisitive people here in KL. That's the defending champion, Huang Kee Fook, and that is the young pretender to the crown, Wilson Sim, who finished 3rd in this event in 2015.
In lane 1,
Afla Fadlan, who is 2nd to Wilson in the 400 meters freestyle, is in lane number 1. Tran Tan Thieu of Vietnam is in lane number 2. And then Singapore's Danny Yeo, who actually beat Wilson at the Singapore National Age Group Champ, so that'll give him some confidence. He is in lane number 3. And here comes the biggest cheer of the night. The last to win the 200 and 400 in the same SEA Games was in 2009, Daniel Bago. The defending champion, 2-time defending champion, Huang Kee Fook of Vietnam, lane number 5. And a lane that was supposed to be Daniel Bago's has been vacated and given to Putra Muhammad Randa. There has never been an Indonesian winner in this event since 1993 when Richard Sambera won. Pang Sheng Jin of Singapore is in lane number 7. His personal best happened at the Asian Championships last year where he finished 8th. And Jesse Lacuna of the Philippines, who clocked a personal best this year in the heats, he is in lane 8. SEA Games record 1:48.96 set by this man. And I can tell you that he's already gone lower this year. He's got a time of 1:48.18. Both him and Wilson, that you see on screen there, the only ones to have gone below 1:49. Danny Yeo has gone below 1:50, 1:49.37 this year. So he needs to put himself in the reckoning very early in the race and not let go of that. What a magnificent field this is, led of course by Hwang Ki-fok, the champion of 2013 and 2015, and Danny Yeo, the champion of 2011, and Wilson Sim, the man who has touted to become champion of 2017 in front of his home fans. As you predicted, Gerald, it is the figure of Hwang Ki-fok who has gone off very early and gone off to a fiery start.
Exactly. I think as expected, Ki-fok went out quickly, and I think he knows it because you know, Wilson is more a middle distance swimmer. He's going to have the stamina to come back. So Ki-fok knows that he has to go out a bit quicker, and hopefully, I think from Wilson's point of view, he's going to try and stick as closely as he can to Ki-fok, because he knows that if they turn together at the third turn, he's probably going to have a very good chance of winning it on the last lap.
It's a 100 sprinter in the 200 versus a 400 middle distance swimmer in the 200. And at the moment, the former is leading by 0.44 seconds. Danny Yeo trying to stay in the map of relevancy, turns in third spot. And then we have Pang Sheng-jun of Singapore in fourth spot. But Hwang Ki-fok has a half a body length lead ahead of Wilson Sim. Remember, these two have gone below 149 this year. Ki-fok 148.18. And Wilson Sim has gone 148.50 at the Malaysian Open. They turn almost side by side, and we're almost going to get the same finish as we did in the 100 meters freestyle final earlier on. Danny Yeo in third position for Singapore. Ki-fok, who has gone off. And we know that Wilson's a very strong finisher, and he's got to turn on the afterburners here if he's going to catch Ki-fok. Ki-fok of Vietnam still slightly in the lead, but he's turning to the right and breathing to the right, whereas Wilson can see exactly what his rival is doing, and Wilson Sim is coming right back at it. It's almost another close finish, and it will be Wilson Sim winning it just ahead of Hwang Ki-fok, and Singapore's Danny Yeo in third place. Another amazing race.
Amazing race, as we expected, right? I mean, that's what Wilson had to do. Basically, he really had to stick with Ki-fok for the first 3 laps. And if they turn together, very close together, you know that Wilson's going to be able to take it home a lot quicker than Ki-fok did. But Ki-fok actually managed to hold up pretty well towards the last lap.
What a time that is as well. 147.79. The first Southeast Asian to go below 148. And if I'm not wrong, Ki-fok's also probably gone below 148 with that swim. Wilson said it at the start. His biggest rival was going to be the Vietnamese in his chase for the treble. He's beaten one of them already in the 200 meters freestyle, and he looks forward to the 1500 meters freestyle in a couple of days. Hwang Ki-fok tried to live and breathe off the walls, being that butterfly swimmer. He's very strong off it, and he was leading after 150, but in the final 25, Wilson all of a sudden went to gears 6, gear 7, and it was a version 2.0 of Wilson Sim that took over from here on and just nipped it in front of the Vietnamese.
Ki-fok actually came back towards the last 10 meters. You see that he didn't even breathe, so he caught up with Wilson towards the end. So I guess this really came down to the touch.
So the title goes back to Malaysia for the first time since 2009, and for the first time since 2009, Wilson Sim becomes the first person since that SEA Games to win the 200 and 400 meters in the same SEA Games. Danny Yeo in third position. He's done well enough to get into medal reckoning. 148.98 for Danny Yeo. And I believe that might be his personal best as well.
And Pang Sheng-jun coming in fourth. I believe that might be his best time as well, 151.22.
It is his personal best time.
That's going to be a quick cracker of a relay team as well, the 4x200, when you add in the other 2 members, Joseph Schooling and Kwat Dungwoon.
That's right. Well, that really took a lot out of him. We saw how comfortable he was in the 400 meters freestyle. He didn't have the same sort of comfort in this race because this time he was chasing. And that's a perfect shot, because a lot of people look at the swimmers, you hardly see their faces because they're underwater most of the time. You know, when they come out, shots like this tell you how punishing this sport can be.
And that's why I said this is one of the most painful events, right? Those guys do a 6-beat kick throughout the 4 laps. It takes a lot out of your body. It takes a lot out of you. The lactic acid in your body is crazy. It's a crazy.
personal best here. Right. So I just want to thank my friends, my family for always supporting me in what I want to do, and I think this is just for them.
Thanks, Danny.
Congratulations.
Welcome back to the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Center as we prepare for the first victory ceremony, which goes the way of Joseph Schooling. The figure of Danny Yeo just walking off, rather disappointing, but I think he did pretty well, Danny, clocking a personal best. First time he's gone below 149, and he did it on the biggest stage in the region in the SEA Games, so well done indeed, Danny Yeo. But we have seen already, perhaps it has been the excitement of the night, excitement of the races, Gerald. I don't know what it is, but it has been a very emotional night so far.
Yeah, it has been. I'm not sure if Danny was actually quite disappointed with his swim, or was that like emotions of happiness, right? Because I think Danny has had quite a tough time over the past couple of years, and as you just mentioned, this is his best time. First time he's broken 149, so I think he's just very, it's more coming from emotions of happiness rather than of being disappointed.
And the disappointment might be the fact that if you told him earlier on that if you break 149, he probably might have thought that, if I break 149 at the SEA Games, it might be a gold medal.
Exactly. I mean, this is another race that has improved so much, right? I mean, the two guys have really brought it to a different level. Keefolk and Wilson, they've really brought it to a different level to what it was before.
The good news for Wilson, is that Wilson? It is Wilson. The good news for him is that there isn't another event, because we saw how beat out he was by the time he came out of the pool. And it's a perfect time right now as we cut away from this to watch Joe Schooling's race all over again. The pain etched on the face of Wilson. That's for Joe Schooling. I don't know about you, Gerald, but for me, probably this race was won on the 13th of August in 2016, because the moment he won the Olympic gold medal, the rest of Southeast Asia was probably looking around and saying, there's no way we're going to beat this guy if he's going to be taking part in the SEA Games.
Exactly. Even within the Asian Games, right? Not just talking about SEA Games, but talk about Asian Games. I don't think many people will think that they can beat Joe. Joe's start again he's got such a great start, and I think he has a little bit of a different stance. It wasn't shown here, but what you see with Joe is that when he does his track start, he actually has a little bit more of a focus on his back leg rather than the front leg. Different people have different stance, but with Joe, the way he does it is, given that his focus on his back leg, his reaction time may be a little bit slower, but what he does is he acts like a slingshot to push himself forward, and that's why he's got such a great start. Some other people, when they start, they like to put the pressure more on the front leg, so you're a little bit more leaning forward, which tends to give you a little bit quicker reaction time, but definitely a lot less power than the other way. So I guess it really works depending on what your preference is and what works for you.
It certainly does work for Joe, because it's a known fact around the world. If you look around the world, it's a known fact that he probably is the fastest when it comes to the starts. He certainly is the fastest in the 100 meters butterfly, at least at the Olympic Games. Until the next Olympics, he's got 4 years for that boast. And this time, he almost came within a whisker of taking out the largest winning margin ever at the SEA Games. It is a new SEA Games record, as we mentioned earlier on. First to dip below 52 seconds, and it certainly set a precedent for the night, didn't it, Gerald? Because he became the first to dip below 52 seconds, and then Tingwen dipped below the SEA Games record, and then Wilson was the first to dip below 148, and sometimes that first race just gives the energy for the rest of the evening's events.
Yes, it does. So today has been a great start. Everyone's just breaking previous fast times, right? Previous records. So it's so interesting to see how Southeast Asian swimming is getting better and better. But I think one thing that's lacking in Southeast Asia swimming is the next generation of swimmers. We see that the time is getting quicker, but there is a big gap between the first tier of swimmers versus the second tier of swimmers, and hopefully we get more of that second tier swimmers coming in, especially when you talk about Myanmar, you're talking about Laos, some of the lesser known countries. They now have a swim team coming in here. I think hopefully they get the support that they need, whether it's having overseas coaches coming to their local countries to coach them, or they moving to the US or other countries to get some training.
Yeah, and that's something that I was about to touch on a little bit later on actually on the show, Gerald, and even for tomorrow, because there are a lot of long distance events tomorrow. That chasm between someone like a Tian Vien and the next swimmer, I know we're always amazed by the fact that it's 4 or 5 seconds that she wins by, but that cannot be good for the region in the long run.
It's not, definitely not, right? And it cannot be good for her as well, because I mean she doesn't get the competition that she needs. Can you imagine if in a 200-meter backstroke or a 400-meter freestyle she had some competition, she could have gone quicker as well. So I think it's good that we bring this second tier of swimmers come up. Hopefully they can come up and give a bit more competition to the top tier swimmers.
It's something that Singapore swimming has done so very well through the years. I remember in 2009 talking with Ang Peng Siong in the studio. I was saying that your women's squad have been pretty good so far. What about your men's squad? They haven't returned as many as you did. And he said in 2011 it's going to be a new men's squad, and they will deliver. And in 2011 we saw the likes of Teo Chen Ren at that time, Kwa Cheng Wen, Joseph Schooling. They all came out, and they all came out blazing in Palembang. So that regeneration, at least from Singapore swimming, has always been apparent.
It's very important to keep that momentum, right? What we've seen in Southeast Asia swimming is that it tends to move around in cycles. Indonesia right now they've got quite some good swimmers, but where, for example, Thailand used to be a powerhouse with Ratapong, as you mentioned earlier. But now other than Kitin, we haven't really seen that many good swimmers come out of Thailand, and it's a pity, right? Given how good they were in the past, but I think you give them a few more years, they probably you'll start seeing some good swimmers coming out from that country again. But it's important to maintain that momentum and not lose sight of it.
So the first gold medal, the first 2 gold medals, and the first 2 victory ceremonies of the night will hear the Singapore national anthem after wins for Joe Schooling, convincing, and then a close shave, but a magnificent swim by Kwa Ting Wen. That is exactly what I mean by the difference between a swimmer and a racer. A racer knows how to win, and Kwa Ting Wen knew what she had to do and knew how to win by 0.01 seconds. Frustrating for Glenn Victor Sutanto. And sometimes when you look at the all-time medal list and you're looking at them and saying, wow, this guy should have won a lot more, sometimes it's being born in the wrong era, isn't it? For the likes of Sutanto. And you look at Kwa Ting Wen as well, it's just her 5th individual gold medal, but remember, she was living in the era of like Tao Li and all that kind of stuff. It's very difficult, and she missed the SEA Games as well in 2011 due to injury. So we have to take all that into account.
The medals will be presented by Her Excellency Ms. Sim N, Senior Minister of State Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth.
Another goal
will be presented by
for Joe at the SEA Games. This makes it 13, as we said earlier on. It ties him with Richard Sambera. 13 gold medals. And he's got 1 more to catch Ratapong Srisanot. And that'll happen tomorrow night in the 100 meters freestyle.
Bronze medalist, Indonesia.
4th consecutive games now for Glenn Victor Sutanto, where he has medaled.
Glenn Victor Sutanto.
But the medals have been silver in 2011, bronze in 2013, silver in 2015, and bronze in 2017. He does have 1 gold medal in his collection in his SEA Games, but tons of those other colors as well.
Silver medalist, Indonesia.
Triadi Fauzi, who finished 2nd to Joe in the 50 meters butterfly, has to settle for silver yet again. He too another one with a collection of medals in this event. 2nd in 2013, third in 2015, now second in 2017. And these Indonesians have to settle for silver and bronze because they are living in the kingdom of Joseph.
And ladies and gentlemen, gold medalist and SEA Games champion with a new games record of 51.38 seconds, Singapore!
Oh, it doesn't get old. Winning never gets old. Joe's the first to tell you that. Can you imagine that that announcement which went SEA Games champion? He was Olympic Games champion last year.
Hopefully he'll be Asian Games champion next year.
Yeah, that's right. And Commonwealth Games too. Let's not forget that. It's next year as well. And then world champion in 2019. And then defending Olympic champion in 2020. We've marked out his career path for him over the next few years. The national anthem of Singapore, once again delivered by Joseph Schooling.
Ladies and gentlemen,
congratulations to Joseph Schooling once again. Absolutely well done with the 100 meters butterfly. He came in as hot favorites, but he didn't take his eye off it and won in a new SEA Games record, becoming the first person in Southeast Asia, at the SEA Games at least, to go below 52 seconds in the 100 meters butterfly. Well, you look at the times through the years for Joe as well, it's just a mirror image and a reflection of how hard this boy has trained, because in 2013 when he won, it was with a time of 52.67 seconds, and then in 2015 it was 52.13 seconds. And here, although it's below 52 seconds, in between those times, the years of 2015 right up to the Olympic Games, from 52.13 at the SEA Games, he went down to 50.39 at the Olympic Games. It's just all the hard work that he's put into it just to win that Olympic gold medal.
I think the timing was just perfect, the way he trained towards the Olympic Games, right, over the years. Again, it's a long process. It's something that he's trained his whole life towards, and you know, the fact that he's cut a half a second every year, every time he swam it, you know, and accumulating in the Olympic Games. Timing was perfect. His training was perfect. I mean, his tapering was perfect. You know, everything leading up to that point, he did it exactly the way he needed to do it to win that gold medal.
51.38 seconds is his time in 2017, and come 2019, if he swims in the SEA Games in the Philippines, it might go even lower by then. As I said, he's not fully tapered for this event, having swum in the World Championships, and still he's gone below 52. As you said, Gerald, eyes closed, hands tied behind, below 52 is no problem for Joe.
No problem at all. I mean, right before World Champs, he did a a practice race during training, and I think he did like 50.9 hand time, right? So you know, maybe even with this time, it's a little bit disappointing for him, given that he's done quicker than this during training.
Yeah, and that 50.9 as well, I believe it wasn't tapered or wasn't shaved, or one or the other, wasn't it?
It wasn't. It was just him. I think it was about 2 weeks before World Championships. It was when Caleb Dressel, one of his friends and biggest rivals in the US, did a 50.8, and Joe was a little bit pissed off. Knowing him, he just wanted to go out there, do a race, his own internal race to train.
Well, we'll see whether Joe gets his slots with the media, of which they were saying that both him and Nguyen Thi Vien just totally inundated with requests for interviews. As we have a look once again at this, the closest race that we've seen so far at these SEA Games, the women's 100 meters freestyle. Ting Wen, half a body length until the final 20, and we knew that Thi Vien, who certainly got lungs in her, was going to catch up. Ting Wen, as I said earlier on, Gerald, she just knows how to win. That's the true blue way to describe her, a racer through and through. She knew how to win. A
real competitor. I wasn't sure whether her being in lane 1 would have been a disadvantage for her, given that she wouldn't be able to see the rest of the field. But it worked in this case, because in lane 2 we had Thi Vien, right? So who was the closest competitor, and as you said, when it comes down to a close race, she knows what she needs to do to get her hand to the wall first, right? We saw she did not breathe into the wall, and she really stretched it out. You know, I think she was actually a little bit behind, but the fact that she stretched it out, she timed her stroke really well into the wall, that she actually won this race.
Well, I know, going back through the years, because her next event is next. Her next duty supposedly is the victory ceremony. I know through the years a lot of swimmers actually get someone else to take the medal for them and appear on the podium for them while they prepare for the race. I don't know whether it's going to happen this time, because all the winners have appeared for the victory ceremony, but I think during your time as well, it was quite often that it happened, quite frequent it happened, wasn't it?
Exactly, especially if you have, you know, 2 or 3 events, and you know, you only have like 15 minutes in between events to rest for. And Ting Wen not only has 2 events, she's got 3 events, including the relay at the end, where we know Singapore has a tough fight against Thailand. So you know, I won't be surprised if the coaches get another swimmer to represent her on stage, on the platform. And you know, Ting Wen's probably out there at the warm-up pool now, continuing her warm down to get the lactic exit out of her body. She's got the 50-meter butterfly after this, which should not take too much out of her, but she's expected to win that one again. And then obviously the 200-meter freestyle, the 4x200-meter freestyle relay at the end, that's going to be a very, very tough race.
That will be very tough on her, and will be punishing for her, and hopefully Singapore might not be punished for that, so they probably will be chased by the Thai team. As we have a look at one of their supporters. Their supporters always the most colorful at the games, bringing along with them their props, their instruments, adding so much life to the stands, and they will be hoping that it will at least have a golden end to day 3 of competition at these games, with victory in the 4x200 meters. Joe Schooling has already won. Tomorrow, remember, he swims in the 100 meters freestyle and then the 4x200 meters freestyle relay. He's slated for all relays. Tomorrow will be his final individual race at these 2017 Southeast Asian Games. As we await a victory ceremony for the 100 meters freestyle. Still to come, the 50 meters butterfly for women, the 200 meters backstroke, where yep, it'll be the victory ceremony first. Before that, 200 meters backstroke, where Gerald, you won your final medal, I believe, at the SEA Games in your career in this pool. A bronze medal here in 2001.
So. My first, and I won my first medal in my 200 meter backstroke, and my last medal in my 200 meter backstroke. So the first one was in Singapore, where I got a silver medal. So that's been my main stroke. So I'll be obviously during the event later, it might be a little bit emotional for me.
It has been an emotional night, like I said. First Ting Wen, then Wilson, and then Gerald's going to get emotional after that as well, as Kwon Ting Wen will be hot favorite to win in that race. No one's gone below 2 minutes before at the SEA Games. Ting Wen's trying to be the first to do that, and having seen already what Joe has done and what Wilson has done, he might just be very tempted to go very quick, because that is his only race for the evening.
He's probably not going to have any close competition though, so I don't know if he'll go under 2 minutes. All the races that we've seen have been very tight races, and basically the first and second place swimmers have pushed one another to the end. But for the 200 meter backstroke, I think Zheng Wen's in another class compared to his competitors. similar to what we saw yesterday in his 200-meter butterfly.
His sister defending her title. This is Kwa Ting Wen's 20th medal in individual events at the SEA Games, and her 5th gold medal in an individual event. 3 of those 5 have come in the 100 meters freestyle for Kwa Ting Wen. So what happened in 2015, it's the same order this time around in 2017. I think the podium has to be switched a little bit. It was the wrong position. See, that's what happens, Gerald, when you get someone like Tian Vien winning silver. She's not used to winning silver. She stands in the wrong position. She's used to being in the middle. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Jasmine Alcalde has to settle for bronze yet again. Hopes were so high for her to end that streak, becoming the first Filipina to win the 100 meters freestyle since Akiko Thompson in 1989, and then becoming the first Filipina female swimmer to win a gold medal since Akiko did it in 1993. The streak still goes on though, winless drought. But she has an opportunity in the 50 meters butterfly. As I said, not used to being the bridesmaid, being in second spot. Well, she's clocked a personal best time and a new national record. It's not good enough for gold. Just 0.101 seconds, not good enough for Nguyen Tian Vien. She must have thought, had she did it, she too going in the 50 meters butterfly, the race that happens right after this ceremony.
And ladies and gentlemen, gold medalist and SEA Games champion with a new Games record of 55.74 seconds.
Not a new national record for Kwa Ting Wen, but still unbeatable in Southeast Asia.
Interestingly, all 3 girls are going to go back and then get ready for the 50-meter butterfly.
Yeah, exactly. So fair play. It will be a fair field. What a victory this one was, and probably one that she'll savor more than the other 2 that she gained in 2009 and 2015, because she really had to show her mettle and her steel and her character in that race, winning by 0.01 seconds. Kwa Ting Wen, winner in the 100 meters freestyle again. Been at the SEA Games since 2005, where as a teenager she competed in the long distance events, and then from 2007 onwards she won her first gold medal in the 400 meters individual medley. In 2009 was her breakout year, winning in the Asian Youth Games and then the SEA Games. She was a top performer at the SEA Games. She then appeared at the 2011 Games. That's in the last couple of SEA Games, clinching gold yet again in the 100 meters freestyle. But over the years, 12 years at the SEA Games, I've never seen Hua Ting-wen this emotional. I don't know whether it means this might be her last games.
I think it might be. You know, she's graduated from college in the US for a couple of years, so I think she's been training full time for it. Probably at some point in time, this could be the last one. She may still, you know, train and work until next year's Asian Games. That could be her swan song, but very likely that I think this could be her final SEA Games.
Well, she certainly passed the torch for a bunch of young swimmers that are coming up and competing for Singapore. She has been a magnificent team captain, and she of course was the Singapore flag bearer at the opening ceremony of the last SEA Games too, so she will have wonderful memories of the Southeast Asian Games from 2005 to 2017. That is, if 17 is her swan song. Her 5th individual goal, and hopefully her 6th coming up in a few minutes in the 50 meters butterfly. You can see from her face that she wants to get back as soon as possible just to get herself ready for the 50 meters butterfly. Yeah, quick snap a photograph. I need to go. There we go. That smile that says, I need to go, I need to go.
Thank you very much.
That's probably the most no-brainer of a question, isn't it? Do you need to go? Yeah, she is going to prepare for the 50 meters butterfly, and Jasmine Alcalde and Nguyen Tian Vien have got a 30-second head start on her in preparation time, but when it comes to the pool, I don't think that might be the case, especially with the way she takes off the blocks. So that might take some time because the other swimmers are already in the call room, but gold, silver and bronze from the women's 100 meters freestyle are also competing in that race, and it will be some time before it happens. But very, very happy whenever Hua Ting-wen wins, and you see what happened with her. I believe it was, what was it? It was a broken elbow or something like that, right? That she suffered when she was in the USA.
Yes, it was, and it was while she was surfing. So I think that's why she's been so emotional. Is because, I mean, she obviously had a tough time in 2011 when she didn't qualify. You know, after she recovered from her elbow surgery, and it's been tough for her. And I guess that's why, you know, she's now been very emotional after winning this race.
The Malaysian fans are waiting for Wilson Sim to receive his gold medal, but it's not going to happen until a couple of races from now. He won in the 200 meters freestyle, and we hope he's okay, because when he came out of the pool he could hardly walk. It looked as if it was body cramps that were just about to hit him before he went into the warm-up pool.
I think it was. He kept saying cramp, and I think it was his legs. Again, right? It shows because he's primarily a distance swimmer where they don't use so much legs. Whereas this race, you know, he was doing a 6-bit kick throughout. He's probably not used to using his legs as much in his other events, the 400 and 1005 that he's been known for. So it really took a lot out of him.
Well, but it was also another clear example of a racer versus a swimmer, because he knew how to win, he knew how to race, and was all about winning. So no matter what your strokes look like, no matter what you're doing inside the water, I have to touch the wall first. So even if it looks a little bit clumsy in the end, which it wasn't, you have to do it in order to win. And Wilson Sim has proved to the rest of Southeast Asia that he has belonged into the category of racer at these SEA Games. So we're waiting for the women to come up in the 50 meters butterfly event, which will feature a couple of Vietnamese bookending the field. When Diet Phong Trom. And speaking of the 200 meters freestyle, we can have a look at that race again. Wilson Sim winning at the death against Wang Ki Fok, who came out so very quick, lightning quick, I have to say.
Wilson executed a perfect race. I think, you know, he pretty much knew what Ki Fok was going to do. Ki Fok has a lot of speed. We both know that, you know, we all know that Ki Fok was going to take it out quick, and, you know, hopefully he'll build a lead that he could sustain throughout the race. Wilson probably knows the same thing, right? So that's why what he tried to do was just pretty much stay within Wilson, Ki Fok's range, and then so long as he turns together with Ki Fok on the third lap, Wilson's got as good a chance as anybody to win that last 50.
And he did. Wilson Sim just ahead in one of the closest 200 meters freestyle races ever in the history of the SEA Games. And that's what it means for you to win in front of your home fans. I'm sure that last 25 meters, he would have heard the cheers. A lot of people always have this belief that, you know, you're a swimmer, you're in the water, you can't hear anything. But trust me, they can hear the cheers of the crowd.
They can, especially when it's a home crowd, right? When they're cheering for you, you definitely can hear it. And it makes a world of difference, right? Not many times, I mean, there are not many competitions in Southeast Asia where you get a good and a big audience. You know, this is one of the few, very few, that you have a good, sizable audience watching you and cheering you on.
And this venue as well, although it's a little open, you know, somehow when the crowd create a din, you have swum here before, Gerald, when the crowd create a din, it is pretty noisy and very partisan.
Yeah, it is. It echoes throughout the arena, so it can be very, very loud.
Well, is this a victory ceremony now? And at least they prepared the flags. It's supposed to be, but I guess they switched the order around a little bit in order for the girls to prepare slightly longer. If that's the call from the organizers, we say well done to them, because that's very good improvisation to actually put this victory ceremony ahead of the 50 meters butterfly race. So the victory ceremony might take place right now for the 200 meters freestyle. We are assuming that Wilson is able to get back up and walk there for that. But tomorrow in the 4x200 meters freestyle for men, with Wilson Sim winning here, I know that Singapore have got that absolute brilliant quartet. But with Wilson winning here, the Malaysians might be up for it in what could be a Singapore versus Malaysia race, just like it was in the 400 meters freestyle relay.
It could be. Obviously, for Malaysia, they've got Wilson and they've got Daniel Bago that, you know, we were surprised didn't show up in the finals of today's 200 meter freestyle. But, you know, third and fourth place in that race was, you know, we had Sung Jin coming in fourth, and we had Danny coming in third, both in personal best times. And we already know that Joe Schooling is going to do it, as well as Zheng Wen. So it's a pretty strong foursome quartet that we are looking at for the Singapore team. I don't know who the other two swimmers from Malaysia are and whether they can keep pace with, you know, the four members that we have in the Singapore team.
Absolutely right.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Wilson Sim does look in very good form at these games. So just one more race, which is the 1500 meters freestyle for him to complete the treble,
please welcome to the podium,
which is almost unprecedented. But as I said, in the 1500 meters freestyle race, Vietnamese 15-year-old, I have a feeling that he might surprise. The defending champion in that race is from Vietnam, Lam Nang Quat, but the 15-year-old has cracked his national record already, so he might surprise. Good to see Danny back on the podium again. He missed out on the podium places in 2015. And he's back with that bronze medal.
The medals will be presented
with a personal best time as well.
Ahmad Berhormat, Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia. The mascot and seedling will be presented by Miss Nurul Huda Abdullah, 10-time SEA Games gold medalist.
That figure of Nurul Huda Abdullah, we all know she is tied with Tao Li for 4th on the all-time list, and when a legend like that gives you a thumbs up, you know you probably have done a good job. There's still more to come for Welson Sim.
Singapore.
A very emotional Danny Yeo after the race, adding to the 4x100 meters freestyle goal that he collected yesterday. Now a bronze in the 200 free. But all in all, looking at it, I mean, he couldn't have done any better. He did not flake out on the big stage. He went out and had the best race of his life.
He swam his own race. If you watch the replays, you can see that he did not follow Kifok and Welson out in the first 100, and that's his strength, right? I mean, he knows that if he follows them out, he probably would suffer in the second half. So he did a very smart thing, swimming out his own race, planning out his strategy and executing it perfectly.
Hong Ki-Fok, after 2 gold medals, failing to make it 3 in a row, just like Bago did, as he finishes in 2nd spot. And that's after being in the lead for 175 meters of the 200 freestyle. It's a new national record for him. That's how fast these boys went. And the first person to go under 1:48 in the 200 free is Welson Sim.
Games record of 1 minute 47.79 seconds. Malaysia, represented by Welson Sim. Gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Malaysia.
Another swimmer where you'd say the next stop is Jakarta, because if he can produce this sort of form and actually show it off at the Asian Games level, then you know that Welson Sim has arrived.
He's going to be competing against the world champion, though. When you talk about Asian champion, that's Sun Yang, who's also the world champion for this event.
Yeah, let's not forget as well, I don't know if Taekwon will still be competing. There's also Hagino of Japan. So it will be tough, but if he makes the final of the 200, maybe even 400, because probably his pet event's the 400, if he makes the final of the 400, you probably will be able to say, you know, Welson Sim has arrived in the scene.
He has. I mean, you have basically 3 other Asian swimmers who are basically top 8 within the world, right? So if he does do well within the Asian Games, you can truly say that, you know, he's world class.
Ki Fok will be having an eye out on that as well at the Asian Games, and good to see him back in the pool actually swimming the way we know Ki Fok can, because on the first day in itself he dropped out of the heats and did not look comfortable at all. Didn't look as if it was as if someone had kidnapped him and put him in another body for the first day of the heats. Whoever's done that has actually returned the real Ki Fok back, because the Da Nang Otter has certainly showed up in Kuala Lumpur, at least for this race, and for a long while we thought he was going to play party pooper. And this will take quite some time because he doesn't have another race to get ready for, and they're going to milk every moment of this, the Malaysians. It's tough being a gold medalist, isn't it? You not only have to swim to win it, but later on you've got to pose as well. Ki Fok will get the attention of the Vietnamese media, and Danny Yeoh, who was very emotional after the race. I don't know if he'll go for another round of interviews with the Singapore media, but certainly everybody will want to talk to Welson Sim about the double that he achieved. In the 200 meters freestyle Welson swim, it joins a select band of swimmers: William Wilson, Tolap Setsoton, Daniel Bager, Jonathan Davidson, and Tan Tuan Heng and Tin Mong Nui of then Burma to have won this and the 400 meters in one single games. He of course qualified for this event at the Olympic Games in Singapore last year, let's remember that, and then at the Olympic Games set his national record of 1:47.67. And here at the SEA Games, the first to swim below 1:48 at the SEA Games. So remember, he still has that 1500 meters freestyle to come. That's in 2 days from now. The night has just begun. We're only halfway through with the 50 meters butterfly, then the 200 meters backstroke for men, and it ends with the 4x200 meters freestyle relay for women, where Singapore have the Kwa sisters, Ting Wen and Jing Wen, and alongside them as well, Christy May Chu and Rachel Seng swimming in that quartet. First though, the 50 meters butterfly final. Gerald, do you think this is going to take its toll on Ting Wen? That 100 meters freestyle race certainly took a lot out of her. This race might be short. If she wins it, will take a lot out of her. And how would she be going into the 800 meters freestyle relay?
I think the 100 meter freestyle is definitely going to take a lot more out of her than this race. This race will be over in less than 30 seconds. It's going to be quick. Quick 50 meter one lap. She'll probably take 2 breaths, 3 breaths at most. And then right after this event, what she'll need to do is really get into the warm down pool right away. You'll see her skip media interviews. Make sure she just goes down to the warm down pool and do maybe 20-30 laps just to shake it out, warm herself out for the relay.
We certainly hope so. As I said, bookended by a couple of Vietnamese swimmers, including the record holder who leads the field out. It is not Nguyen Thian Vien, one of a few records she doesn't hold in Vietnam. It belongs to that lady, Nguyen Dep Phong Thom, and her national record is 27.60 seconds. A SEA Games record held by Tao Li. In fact, only Tao Li's won this event in 2011 and 2015. If Ting Wen wins, Tao Li might not be here, but at least the crown is still kept on a Singaporean. And looking at the times, Ting Wen probably the only one in the field to have gone below 27 seconds And that was a personal best she set last year at the Singapore National Age Group Champs, 26.76 seconds. And this year, at the start of the year, she has been in good form as well, winning the Age Group Champs and the National Championships. Janjira Srisaad might be the dark horse with the way she starts races. Very, very quick off the blocks. And so too Jasmine Al-Khaldi. Might have something to say here, having lost to Ting Nguyen already in the 100 meters freestyle. So here is the Vietnamese record holder, Nguyen Diep Phong Tram, who was 8th in this event in 2015. National record 27.6. Nurul Faja Fitriati, who won the silver in the 100 meters backstroke. She's in lane number 2. Then Janjira Srisaad, the Thai national record holder, 27.24 seconds she set when she won the ASEAN University Games in Singapore last year. She's in 3. Ting Nguyen, the fastest qualifier, in lane number 4. Her best time this year, 27.04. Jasmine Al-Khaldi, the Philippines national record holder, with a time of 27.47, which she set in finishing 3rd at the last SEA Games. She's in 5. Nicole Teo of Singapore, who's already swum in the SEA Games and finished 7th in the 200 meters butterfly. She's in lane number 6. Adinda Larasati Dewi of Indonesia in lane number 7. She swam a personal best of 28.55 in the heats to get into the final. And Nguyen Tian Vien, who finished 4th in 2015 in this race, she is in lane 8. Her personal best was that 4th place finish, 27.67 seconds. As we've seen already, not much of a 50 meters swimmer, but still trying to do the unthinkable and beats this lady who is the premier sprinter in Southeast Asia, Kwa Ting Nguyen.
Could you please be quiet prior to the start of the event? Thank you.
And looking at the times this year, Janjira just slightly behind Ting Nguyen, and then Jasmine Al-Khaldi just behind them. Will they finish in that order? 1, 2, 3. But we all know how quick Kwa Ting Nguyen is. Yet again, it is Janjira Srisaad who's gotten off to a very quick start, but underwaters from Kwa Ting Nguyen just absolutely superb. But she's playing catch-up against the Thai girl all over again. Jasmine Al-Khaldi slowing, getting back into this race, but it is Kwa Ting Nguyen who is slowly inching ahead of Janjira Srisaad, who doesn't have the engines to finish off this 50 meters race. Kwa Ting Nguyen slowly inching ahead right now, just slightly ahead of Janjira Srisaad. Jasmine Al-Khaldi can't keep up with her. It will be Kwa Ting Nguyen winning yet again by 0.11 seconds ahead of Srisaad, and Al-Khaldi in 3rd position.
What an amazing swim by Ting Nguyen. And I don't think she took a single breath in that race. I was trying to count, and it looked like she just swam the whole way without taking one single breath. Amazing finish again, and this speaks to your point. You know, she's a competitor, she's a racer. She definitely could see the Thai girl next to her.
Not far away from her personal best time at 26.83 seconds, and this came after she swam the 100 meters freestyle. So she swam 2 races today and won them by a combined 0.12 seconds in the 100 meters freestyle and then the 50 meters butterfly.
Such an amazing swim from her, but as expected, the Thai girl again, right? She's got probably what we call fast twitch muscles. So quick off the blocks. She probably led it for almost 90% of the race, right? And then towards the end, we just saw Ting Nguyen overtake her slightly, reach the wall with her long arms.
She didn't have enough gas in her to finish this 50 meters off, and Kwa Ting Nguyen certainly punished her for it. Jasmine Al-Khaldi will have to pick up another bronze medal behind Kwa Ting Nguyen. So Tao Lee's vacated the crown, but Ting Nguyen saying, I'm ready, and she stepped up to it. This time, not as emotional. The smile has probably and finally surfaced on Kwa Ting Nguyen. Gary Tan, a happy camper, as we'd expect, and now he will want to get her off the pool as soon as possible to get ready for the 800 meters freestyle relay. Brilliant swim by Kwa Ting Nguyen. So too Janjira Srisaad, who only becomes the 3rd Southeast Asian to dip below 27 seconds with a new national record, and Jasmine Al-Khaldi of the Philippines in 3rd place, 27.27. That's also a brand new record for her. 27.86. Nicole Teo, let's give her credit as well. Well done to her in her very first SEA Games, finishing just outside of the medal placings. Nguyen Tian Vien in 5th, and the Vietnamese record holder Diep Phong Tram will be a little disappointing to take up the rear end of that race.
I think we could see Ting Nguyen getting 3 gold medals this evening, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it could be the Kwa evening, because if Ting Nguyen wins, we could see the Kwa family take 4 or 5, because Ting Nguyen's inside the 4x200 meters freestyle relay as well. What a night it will be for the Kwa family. Mr. and Mrs. Kwa.
Probably the first time ever 3 siblings getting a goal on the same evening.
Probably. It will be hard to find out, I can tell you that, but most likely. I mean, we've had some very famous swimming families, not just in Singapore, of course, the Chan family, but not just in Singapore, but we've also had them in Southeast Asia too. Let's not forget the Setsathorn family. We've had the Sution family. Through the years, there have been a lot of them. And of course, let's not forget my co-commentator himself, Gerald, the Cole family too. I mean, what is it with the families being swimmers? Is that the fact that you actually have someone in that family itself to compete with you every day at training?
It is. And always the younger one wants to beat the older brother, right? So as I was saying just now, you know, Ting Wen and Jing Wen both swimming in the 100-meter freestyle. And then when I mentioned that Jing Wen wanted to beat the older sister, I know exactly how that feels, because my brother and I, Desmond and I, both swam in the 200 individual medley at the SEA Games. We were both finals. And, you know, I wanted as badly to beat him, right? Because he's been the older brother, the more accomplished one, and I know exactly how she feels in that race. And right after this, she's going to, Jing Wen and Ting Wen are going to swim in the same relay, which was what I did. So it's a little bit strange, right? I mean, obviously competing against your brother or your sibling, wanting to beat them, but at the same time, you're both in relays together as well, and that's when you want the best for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's family bragging rights, as they call it, you know. Just beating your brother alone sometimes is good enough. Kwa Tung Wen will be red-hot favorites in this race. Red-hot favorites, as Gerald was saying earlier on. As hot a favorites as Joe was in the 100 meters butterfly, as he was yesterday in the 200 meters butterfly. This, the 200 meters backstroke for men, which did not have a heat, so we only have 6 finalists. And Kwa Tung Wen is ahead of the rest of the field this year by a huge margin. I can tell you that he is ahead of the field by at least 3 seconds in this race, with the personal best times clocks this year. Paul Nguyen of Vietnam, bronze medalist already in the 50 and 50 fly and back. He's in 2. Francis Fong of Singapore, who finished 3rd at the Commonwealth Youth Games in this event. He is in lane number 3. He was also 2nd at the national age groups. And Kwa Tung Wen, the defending champion, trying to win back-to-back titles at the Games. The last to win back-to-back titles in this event was Alex Lim back in 2005. Ricky Anggawijaja of Indonesia, who prefers this to the 50 meters butterfly and the 50 meters back, I should say, where he finished 8th. Jerapong Sangkawat. The Thais have never won a backstroke event in men's swimming at the SEA Games. So I think they've switched the lanes around for Paul Nguyen and Tran Doi Khoi of Vietnam. Doi Khoi finished in 2nd spot back in 2013. That was Vietnam's first silver medal since 2003 in Hanoi. So all set and ready to go. They'll take the plunge into the pool. And Gerald, let's have a talk about this start as well for the backstroke and how these swimmers grip, because there have been talks about different techniques of gripping the board and different techniques of actually getting off.
It is, but now they've got that little ledge that you can see. I mean, when I was competing, we didn't have that ledge, and obviously that start is very important.
So we'll let Gerald talk more in this race than ever before, because this was his race that won the bronze medal. And Kwa Tung Wen in lane number 4, the red hot favorites, has gotten off to a good start, followed very closely by Doi Khoi of Vietnam.
I think this is going to be a race for 2nd place again, right? Tung Wen's going to be out quick. I mean, he's going to lead throughout the race, as you can really see it here. But you know, I'll be very excited to see how Francis Fong does it. Who's swimming in lane 3. Francis has a very, very unique way of swimming the backstroke. We'll watch it in a second. He actually seems like as if he's swimming butterfly while on his back. You see him having that bouncing motion, which is very unusual.
Absolutely right. That's just beside Tung Wen, the one in black cap. It will be Tung Wen in the lead after 100 meters. And usually when you take it out in this race, what has been your tactic for the 200 meters backstroke?
I'm more of a distance swimmer, so I usually hold back from the first 100. Try and go as comfortable, what we call easy speed in the first 100. 3rd lap is always used to build it up, you know, slower to the fastest, and then you try and hit the 3rd wall going into your quicker speed. And on the last lap is really just closing your eye, but gritting your teeth, and you know, just hoping that you hit the wall.
So Kwa Tung Wen, the lead not as big as we expected to, but Francis Fong, look at him. He's slowly coming back into it now. And does he have enough to push Kwa Tung Wen right to the wall in the final 50 meters? Francis Fong of Singapore is swimming superbly well to turn in second spot, just ahead of Tran Du Koi. He's just 0.39 seconds behind Zheng Wen, but Zheng Wen once again using the whip and bouncing off the wall so very well.
Francis has a very good chance of winning this. Just look at that. Look at Francis's stroke again, right? You can see him bouncing up a number. He looks like he's really got an opportunity to win this race.
This will be a huge surprise if it happens, and will be the surprise of the games thus far. Kwa Tung Wen, I think, finally realizes that Francis is so close to him, deciding to just speed up just a little bit, and he touches home first, just ahead of Francis Fong, 0.40 seconds behind Kwa Tung Wen and Angga Wijaja of Indonesia in third place.
What an amazing swim by Francis. I'm actually super excited for Francis. This is his first SEA Games. I think he's only 17 years old. That's such a great time. Coming into this race, I think his best time was only a 2:03, and he's improved significantly. Look at him. I mean, he's shouting like he's won the race, which is, you know, it's an amazing race that he's from.
He almost beat Zheng Wen, and Zheng Wen beat the SEA Games record. That's how quick Francis Fong actually went. There we go. We're just talking about the starts and the different grips that they have on the boards to take themselves off. Kwa Tung Wen, we've alluded to already so many times in our broadcast how good he is in terms of the starts. And Francis was actually 5th after the first 50 meters, and then he suddenly came into prominence, being 3rd after 100 meters. And the next thing you knew, he was 2nd after 150 meters, and then bouncing home and almost catching Zheng Wen.
I think with the backstroke, it's also a little bit easier to focus on your own race because you're on your back. You don't really see where your competitors are, unlike the butterflies or the freestyles where you see where your competitors are. So in the backstroke race, you really have to go by feel, know how you feel at the first, second, third, and fourth 50. You know, you don't really see many of your competitors unless it's someone next to you. And it's great to see how Francis actually swam his what we call his own race, right? He did not follow Zheng. He did not follow the other swimmer next to him. He was 5th on the first lap, as you mentioned, but basically swam his own race and did it to perfection.
Well, let's know the final results and see the time for Francis Fong. It definitely is a new personal best. I mean, if he is that close, 2:00:49, how about that? That's shaved his personal best by 3.15 seconds. That's a lot to shave off.
That is a lot to shave off. Yeah, absolutely right. I think most people will be happy with a 1 second drop in a 200-meter event, and he's basically sliced off 3 seconds. But that was funny. I mean, Zheng Wen just said, wow, that really hurt.
I'm sure. And if Zheng Wen says that, then you know it's the truth, because that really did hurt for him. Pain is gained though for Kwa Tung Wen, because that gold medal means it's 8 individual gold medals for Kwa Tung Wen now. And guess who he has caught up with in the all-time medal list for Singapore males? He is now joined with Ang Peng Siong on 8 gold medals, and his SEA Games career has just begun.
It was good. I mean, it was a hard swim. Francis was really pushing me all the way. But yeah, I mean, just glad to pull out the win for Singapore.
What do you to your sister talk about now? Because, you know, after her race and before your race.
I mean, I was just watching her finish, and the 50 fly was really risky. So we're just having a good laugh over that.
How special is it, I mean, to be racing with her and watching her win as well?
I mean, definitely very happy for her. She's had her ups and downs coming out of college swimming. So I'm just really happy to see her bounce back, doing very well.
No matter for all 3 siblings, about the parents really?
Haven't talked to them. We'll see after the games. Definitely very proud of my younger sister as well. I mean, coming off 2015, I think she's doing a lot more. I think she's exceeded everyone's expectations.
You don't want to go back to the backstroke?
Oh man, if you could feel what I was feeling right now, I don't know if you'd be doing backstroke either. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely keeping consideration. Yeah, I mean, I'll be doing backstroke for a while more for sure.
How confident are you to be in the under back?
Pretty confident. Yeah, like I said, 50 is never my thing. And yeah, I swam pretty well tonight. So we'll just see how it goes tomorrow.
Restaurants that, you know, take one and take one to other people as well.
I mean, it's definitely very special to have both my sisters on the same meet as me. Hasn't happened all that often. First time in 2015, second time now, I think. So yeah, I mean, it's just nice to have that family support, and yeah, really solid. They've been my rocks throughout. Yeah, nothing more to say.
Jeff, how do you find KL 2017 so far? Has it gone your way for your siblings and yourself?
Definitely a little bit harder than 2015, even with the lighter load. I think just coming out of World Champs really puts you in a different state of mind. So just really tired right now. And yeah, it's just kind of different, hard to compare.
Okay,
Thanks you guys. You know, it really hurt a lot, but thankfully I held on. From the second 50 onwards, I started feeling the pain, and you know, it was an amazing swim. I didn't expect to swim so fast, and I'm really excited that I managed to cut my PB down so much, and I'm really looking forward to my races ahead.
Francis, this is your SEA Games debut, and we spoke like last year, you said you didn't really have any medal expectations, so how does it feel for you now to actually have this achievement for your country?
It feels amazing. I mean, it's quite surreal to me. I came in, you know, just talking to my coaches, Coach Gary, Sonia, Leonard, and you know, we just had a game plan. We didn't really expect what to do with the timings, but we had a plan. I executed it well, and I believe this was a good race, and let's see what I can do.
Welcome back to the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Center, and two more Singapore victories to talk about. First in the 50 meters butterfly for women, and then the 200 meters backstroke for men. Well, that victory by Kwateng, when we were just talking about it, Gerald, it just sets everything up perfectly, doesn't it, for the 100 meters backstroke to happen, and that will be between the 50 meters backstroke winner Igade Siman Suratawa and Kwateng win. It's almost as if the first part we win, the next part you win. Now who defends whose turf for the 100 that race that's right in between?
I think you should throw in Francis Fong now, especially after what he did on that race. I mean, such a surprise. He cut 3.5 seconds from his best time, and I think it's more of a Francis is more of a sprinter, given his stroke and what he does, how he's able to get his hands moving very quickly. So I want to put Francis as a dark horse in that event as well, in the 100-meter backstroke.
Yep, we might never know. And there were dark horses in the 50 meters butterfly for women, but the two of them that a lot of people were talking about, Janjira Srisad and Jasmine Alcaldi, had to play second fiddle yet again to Kwateng Wen. This time taking over Tao Li's crown as the fastest in Southeast Asia. Ting Wen did finish second to Tao Li at the last SEA Games, part of her 12 silver medal haul. And yet again, this is just taking its toll on Ting Wen, because she has got to return to prepare for the 4x200 meters freestyle relay. And this time she will have to apologize and say to her younger brother, sorry Zheng, I won't be able to witness your victory ceremony because the team comes first and the team needs me. Are you surprised by the fact that she's the second swimmer in the 4x200 meters freestyle relay?
Yes, yes, I am. I thought they would let her go last. That's what they've done. The Singapore team has done for the past few relays as well, right? Whoever has events on that day, they've put that swimmer as the anchor leg, so they give them a little bit more time. I mean, it's only like 4 minutes, maybe a bit longer time, but every little second counts in terms of rest and recovery.
And that final leg swimmer, by the way, is going to be her sister, Kwa Jingwen. At least that's the order that has been given to us. So we have a look at how the medals look like this year for the 2017 Kuala Lumpur Games. What a rewarding night it has been for Singapore in the pool. You were mentioning 5, and we're almost there. I think we've got 4 already, haven't we?
Yeah, 4.
Yep, that's right. So we're almost there. Wilson Sim, the only person preventing a clean sweep for Singapore. And what could be a clean sweep for Singapore? At least a clean sweep of the individual events. Joe Schooling, gold in the 100 meters butterfly. Kwa Ting-wen, goals in the 100 freestyle and 50 meters butterfly. And Kwa Ting-wen, goal in the 200 meters backstroke. So the 4 added takes Singapore to 10 already at the SEA Games in Kuala Lumpur. And if they do win 5, it will be 315 goals at the SEA Games for Singapore in swimming alone.
And can you imagine they've done this without Joe and Zheng swimming most of their races as well? Because I mean, in the 200 meter freestyle, Joe and Zheng could have given Wilson a fight for his money in that race.
Because Joe Schooling is the Singapore national record holder in that race at 200 meters freestyle. And you look at Joe as well, he's not competing in the 50 meters freestyle. I mean, most of the events that he took part in 2015, he scrapped from it. So you're absolutely right. They've given Joe and Zheng what is considered an extended leave of absence for the SEA Games in terms of events participating in. But to the youngsters, let's be fair to it, despite the fact that they've given the big guns a time off, the youngsters have actually stepped up to the plate.
They have. And they both so well for the swimming team, right? I mean, they show that they've got the next generation of swimmers, and this SEA Games is a perfect, way to have the younger generation of swimmers come out and show what they can do. And then it'll be exciting as well next year, right? With the Asian Games, given that they've all done really well here, I'm sure they're all going to be prepping out for the Asian Games. The next step, what happens next, right? Obviously, is to qualify for the Asian Games and hopefully final at the Asian Games, and that's how they slowly move up the ladder in terms of SEA Games, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, and then you've got the Olympic Games.
Yeah, and then you have that Joe Schooling effect as well. I'm sure with Joe winning at the Olympic Games, there is another generation of swimmers now being trained in Singapore who will look at it and say, I've got a chance. I really have a chance at the world level.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, when I was growing up, my biggest goal was just to represent Singapore at the Olympics. And when I did represent Singapore at Olympics, I was like, okay, I'm done. Right, that was it. But now when you talk to the younger generation of swimmers, they're like, no, I want to final at the Olympics, or I want to win a medal at the Olympics. What Joe has done has been just so extraordinary in terms of the impact it's had on the swimmers.
Yep, absolutely right. And because of that, the likes of Francis Fong are looking at it and saying that the opportunity is right there. And you're right, for events like the backstroke and the butterfly even, or maybe even the breaststroke, that's another one. If you do well at the Asian level, that is you're almost at the corridor of the Olympics, already medaling at the Olympics. You are.
Because I mean, obviously in the freestyle events, we've got Sun Yang. In the backstroke event, we've got the Chinese guy who won the world champs recently. In the breaststroke, we've obviously got a couple of Japanese who are the world record holder and champions within the breaststroke events at the Olympics. So in those events, if you're able to get a medal at the Asian Games, you're really going to be world class.
Yeah, and that's what they'll be looking for in Jakarta next year. Once they medal there, the hopes will be pretty high for Tokyo 2020. It helps as well that the next Olympics will be in Asia. And the Japanese are already starting their prep for it in terms of their swim team, I can tell you. And a lot of these Southeast Asian countries, the likes of Malaysia, will be pushing Wilson Sim and putting all their money behind him to make sure that he is primed for victory in the 400 meters freestyle, at least a medal at the Asian Games, and then glory at the Olympics in 2020.
Ladies and gentlemen,
But it's unfortunate, isn't it, that events like the 50 meters butterfly, breaststroke and backstroke are not swum at the Olympic Games. Otherwise, there is that extra opportunity, not just for the local swimmers, but also swimmers around Southeast Asia and Asia to chalk up more medals.
It is. But obviously, I think for those 50-meter events, it's a little bit tougher for Asian swimmers to do well, given that, you know, it's purely a sprint event. It's really, you know, the bigger guys, much bigger, stronger guys that typically win those events. So maybe it doesn't really matter. You know, I think where Asians typically have more of an opportunity to perform well on the world stage could be more on the middle 100, 200 meter, 400 meter events.
So, victory ceremony finally underway. This for the women's
the medals will be presented by
50 meters butterfly.
Her Excellencies Ms. Sim N, Senior Minister of State Ministry.
Maybe after this, Hua Zhengwen's gold medal will be distributed so that the likes of Tingwen,
the mascot and seedling will be presented by
and Jasmine Al-Khaldi. Janjuri is not involved in the 4x200 meters freestyle, but Jasmine and Tingwen certainly are. It'll give them enough time to catch up with their teammates.
Ladies
gather in unison and
Philippines.
pat on backs and high fives before coming out for the 4x200 meters freestyle. Another bronze for Jasmine Al-Khaldi as Philippines wait for that gold medal. Male or female since 2009, female since 1993. That wait continues. Let's not forget, she still has an opportunity in the 50 meters freestyle. So it's not over yet in terms of this meet in the individual races for Jasmine Al-Khaldi.
Ladies and gentlemen, silver medalist, Thailand, represented by...
It's unusual that you find someone holding all the records except the freestyle, which she also takes part in, but all the 50 meter records in one country. But she holds the 50 meters breaststroke, backstroke and butterfly records for Thailand, and a lot of it's down to that rocket of a start.
It is. I think you're absolutely right. Not many swimmers, especially the backstroke and the breaststroke. You know, I think those two strokes use very different muscles, and you usually don't see swimmers that can excel in both of those. We've seen a lot of them excel in the butterfly and the freestyle, though, at the same time.
Singapore.
Her second individual gold medal. 6 now in her SEA Games career, which takes her past Nicolette Teo, and 6 means she joins Justina Singh, 5th on the all-time list. Can she get to double digits before the end of these games? Let's hope for Hua Tingwen. It will be tough though to catch who's in front of her, Tao Li with 20. But 6 gold medals in the bag in the individual races for Hua Tingwen and her 21st medal.
women's 50 meters butterfly.
Back at the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Centre, and while we wait for the women's 4x200 meters freestyle relay and the victory ceremony for the men's 200 meters backstroke, let's head over to the National Stadium right now, where we'll have the 800 meters race.
It is needed, but immediately looking to put herself out in front. And this among the favourites, the Malaysian Savinda Kaur, 20-year-old. She ran at in an event in Baku back in June and posted in May rather, and posted a decent 2:12. And now running up against athletes who've gone below 2:09 this season. Quat Quang An is looking very good for Vietnam, looking very strong, also in a good position. And do not discount Vu Thi Le of Vietnam, 2:10.96 at the Thai Open this season. And somebody who is well capable of going below 2:10, ran a 2:12 to claim the bronze medal in 2015. And Sue Ly Myint of Myanmar, a 2:10 runner without any trouble. Now, interesting to see the time at the bell. So around 1:05, 1:06 at the bell. It's not going to be the fastest time, and you're going to need negative splits to see a 2:10 run here, but this can be a tactical race. And certainly for Vietnam, it's looking good. The Timor-Leste athletes just battling to hold on at the back. But it is a bit of a sprint now between the three at the front. Well, Savinder Kaur of Malaysia is just falling back ever so slightly. Leading at the moment is Vu Thi Le of Vietnam, the bronze medalist from 2015, who's just ahead of her compatriots, and the younger, slightly more favoured Quat Quang An, who's been doing so well in her international meets. But at the moment, it looks to be the two Vietnamese athletes who are battling for the gold medal here, desperately trying to catch her compatriot. Quat Quang An, the 19-year-old, is not going to have the energy and strength and speed in the closing stages. It's going to be a much faster time than expected. We're going to see a negative splits run in this race, and a very fine final lap sees gold and silver go to Vietnam. Vu Thi Le takes the gold ahead of Quat Quang An, and the silver to the compatriot. The bronze medal looked to have gone the way of Myanmar's Sue Ly Myint. But what a run, and what a way to finish. She's gone just over 60 seconds for the final lap after going around 1:06 for the opening lap. So a very strong finish, and look at the stress and the strain and the face of Quat Quang An trying to catch her compatriot. It was a very slow opening lap, the leading lap. And going across the finish line here at a 2:07. Was not going to be beaten. Gold medalist at the Southeast Asia Games for 2017. Vu Thi Le goes two better than her bronze in 2015 with gold in 2017.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, Hua Ting-wen has joined up with Jingwen, Rachel and Christy, and they're all set and ready to go for the 4x200 meters freestyle for women. Led out by the home side, the Malaysians, the Thais, Singapore, Vietnam have scratched out of this event, Indonesia and the Philippines in 6th and 7th. This event was introduced to the SEA Games in 1997, and since then there have only been two winners in this event, Thailand and Singapore. The Thais won the first 6 editions till 2007, and the last 4 editions have gone to Singapore. And Singapore, only in the first edition, they did not finish in the top 2. They've been top 2 since then in the last 9 editions. For Thailand, the only time they've been out of the top 2 was in 2013 when they were disqualified. Heidi Gan, Asmalia Felzati, Nadia Reza and Angela Chui in her first SEA Games anchors the Malaysian relay squad. They are in lane number 2. Perhaps Singapore's closest challengers for the gold medal will come from Thailand, who haven't won this since 2005. Their team, Sapianchai Kongkanjana, Titya Patrawadi, Benjapon Srifamonton and Natanan Jungkrajang, their national record holder. And then Team Singapore, favorites for this event. Christy May Chu leads them off. Hua Ting-wen, the second leg swimmer. Rachel Seng swims third, and Hua Jing-wen takes them home.
In lane 6.
So Vietnam have scratched in 5, Indonesia are in 6. Sajita Putri, Adlinda Larasati Dewi, Resa Dewi and Patricia Yosita are their 4 swimmers. The Philippines are led off by 2 Nicoles, Nicole Oliver and Nicole Pamintuan, and then Rosalie Mira Santa Ana, and the national record holder Jasmine Alcalde, who has already won 2 bronzes in her 2 individual events tonight, the 100 freestyle and the 50 meters butterfly, both finishing behind Singapore's Kwa Ting Wen. That's a hard record to beat. 8:11.75 set during those crazy swimsuit times at the World Championships by Singapore. The national record 8:09.91, the SEA Games record 8:11.75, and it will be Indonesia's Sagita Putri to swim first. For Singapore, of course, Christy Mei Chu, and for Malaysia, Heidi Gan. Lane assignments, Malaysia's Heidi Gan in lane number 2. Thailand have got Sapianchai Kongkanjana, who has already swum in the 100 meters freestyle earlier on. She's in 3. Singapore have got Christy Mei Chu as their lead-off leg. Her personal best time this year, 2:03.26, which she swam at the age group championships when she finished 3rd. Indonesia with Sagita Putri in the pool, and Philippines have got Nicole Oliver, who also swam in the 100 meters freestyle earlier on. Thailand just slightly ahead of Singapore, and the Philippines doing well with Nicole Oliver to turn in 3rd spot after 50 meters.
I think Singapore coaches have putting a lot of faith on the 2 younger swimmers, Christy going first and Jing Wen going last. Those usually you have your older, more experienced swimmers doing it, but obviously the coaches trust these 2 swimmers that they can start the race well and end the race well.
It is a huge responsibility put on them, and it's a very young team, I must say, because aside from Ting Wen, Rachel Singh as well is there in this quartet. So they've taken the lead against Thailand by 0.21 seconds. They've shaved off and beat Thailand by 3 seconds, 0.3 seconds in that 50 meters leg alone. So Christy Mei Chu doing superbly well against a more experienced Sapianchai Kongkanjana, who was in the finals of the Asian Youth Games in 2013. Christy just slightly ahead of Kongkanjana, who is a very, very fast finisher. And for the Philippines, Nicole Oliver in 3rd position at the moment, just slightly ahead of Sagita Putri of Indonesia, and Malaysia's Heidi Gan making up the rest as they head home for the first changeover in the final 50 meters. It is Thailand just slightly ahead of Singapore, who've got Kwa Ting Wen in the pool next. Her personal best is a sub 2-minute time of 1:59.75. We don't expect her to swim that this time around, having swum earlier on, but she might beat her best time this year of 2:01.70 because of the form that she has been in. It will be Thailand with the first changeover, 0.42 seconds ahead of Singapore. Ting Wen in the pool, and she's up against Kitia Patrawadi, who's got a personal best time this year of 2:04.41. So Ting Wen is a full 3 seconds faster than her this year and has already taken the lead with that early plunge. She loves to take it out fast, doesn't she, Kwa Ting Wen?
Again, she's used her start to her advantage, right? I mean, the minute she dove in, did a butterfly kicks that she's known for, and she was right ahead right from the start, from the get-go. So that was an amazing start from Ting Wen, and I think she's looking really, really good now, despite this being her 3rd event, right? I mean, she's already won 2 gold medals, so hopefully she keeps this up before passing on to the next swimmer.
Well, sometimes the swimmer beside you can get so overawed, and it's fearsome when you're leading during the changeover. The responsibility is on you to maintain the lead, but you lost it within the first 25 meters, because that was the case, all thanks to the brilliant underwaters of Kwa Ting Wen in that plunge into the pool.
Very smart swim by Ting Wen. You saw that when she first jumped in, she actually moved to the right of the lane, closer to the right of the lane to draft off the Thai swimmer. But the minute she overtook the Thai swimmer, you see now she's swimming on the left side of the lane rope, so that the Thai swimmer cannot draft off her.
Well, she is in the lead, and she's made up 1.46 seconds already from that Thai lead earlier on, which was very momentary. Heading into the final 50, and she'll hand it over to Rachel Singh, who was 4th at the national age group champs with a personal best time this year of 2:03.92. Kwa Ting Wen still slightly ahead of Kitia Patrawadi, who will hand it over to Benjapon Srifanonton, who's already a silver medalist at these games, but that is in open water swimming. So Ting Wen and she plunged in. She was half a body length behind, and now she'll give 1.5 body length lead to Rachel Singh. Benjapon Srifanonton, a previous medalist in the previous SEA Games in the 200 meters freestyle, goes for Thailand. In third place for the Philippines, Rosalie Marie Santa Ana, and just behind Risa Dewi is the third leg swimmer for Indonesia. A healthy lead for Singapore, and it's well protected for the time being by Rachel Singh.
I think Rachel should move a little bit more to the right and follow what Ting Wen did, because now she's swimming a little bit closer to the lane line, close to the Thai swimmer, and you don't really want to give them a draft, right? You don't want to give them any reason to draft off you. So I think she needs to move a little bit more to the right side of the lane, get further away from the Thai swimmer.
Well, that's a wonderful insights there from Gerald as to the fact that swimming is not just only going for your best and your personal best. There's a lot of head play that comes into this as well, a lot of tactics involved in it, especially in those long distance races, and this is one of them, the 200 meters freestyle. Not the best of turns by Rachel Singh, you have to say, but she still maintains that lead, 2.36 seconds ahead of Sripanonton, who is a very strong finisher. That really has been concentrating more on the 800 and open water swimming events over the past 2 years. Still though, Singapore take the lead. It's not only maintained, but Rachel has built it up slightly as well, ahead of the Thais, who've got Natanan Junkrajang as their final leg swimmer. And Singapore have got the fast improving Kwa Ting Wen, who has beaten Ting Wen this year in this event.
I think this goal is in the back for Singapore. So now what Ting Wen needs to do is, again, the coaches have probably told her, right? I mean, if you have a big lead coming into your lap, make sure you do a very, very safe takeover. Don't take any risk with that relay takeover.
Well, you're allowed a little bit of a gap before you plunge into the pool, isn't it? Before you touch the wall, I should say, and the swimmer plunging into the pool. Just make sure that everything is safe here. Look at Kwa Ting Wen watching so very closely and giving that call to Jing Wen to say, now's your time. And it is the time for Kwa Ting Wen to win her third gold medal of these games. Natanan Junkrajang might be chased down by Indonesia as Patricia Yosita takes to the pool. But no one, surely no one, will catch Kwa Ting Wen, and Singapore will win, as Gerald predicted, their 5th gold medal of the night. The lead is huge, and I dare say unassailable. Natanan turns in second spot. She has got a personal best time of 2:00:34 that she set in finishing 6th at the Asian Champs last year. But even her, with her experience and her speed, her natural speed, this is too big a gap to catch up.
It is. Ting Wen's freestyle strokes are so beautiful. I think it's even better than Ting Wen's strokes if you look at it. You know, she's so young. She's got so many more years of swimming ahead of her. I think she's going to be the next big star. I mean, she's really a star in the SEA Games, but you know, we're going to expect a lot more out of her in the coming SEA Games.
She missed out on the medals earlier in the 100 meters freestyle, but if you watch her swim this, you just feel that this actually, more than the 100 meters freestyle, is the event suited for her, the 200 meters freestyle.
I think so. Given her strokes, the 200 seems to be a little bit better for her, and you know, when she stands next to her sister as well, she's quite a bit shorter than her sister, so unless she gets a growth spurt in the coming years, you know, I think probably the 200, the middle distance event probably suits her body type a little bit more.
The Thais came into this race hoping to catch Singapore on an off day, but instead now they might be caught by Indonesia for silver, because Kwa Ting Wen is taking it home for Singapore. It's a young squad. Kwa Ting Wen did a job, of course, to not G it up, but also bring it into a lead earlier on. 8:11:75. We did say it's a crazy time, but I think they're able to break the SEA Games record. It will be a new SEA Games record. We thought the record would stand for a long time, but that is a brand new SEA Games record, and also, well, just short of the national record, 8:09:91. But it's a brand new SEA Games record for Team Singapore and the team of Kwa Ting Wen, Rachel Singh, and starting things off, Christy Chu. Ting Wen gave them the lead. Rachel Singh extended, and then Jing Wen extended it even further. So we say it's a young team, it's inexperienced, but how well did those youngsters, especially Rachel and Jing Wen, do in that race? It's not easy to be given the lead and then say hang on to it, maintain it. They not only did that, Gerald, they extended it.
They did. I mean, again, right? I mean, Singapore is really. I think the swim team is ready for the next few years with the next generation of swimmers. Even we spoke about it earlier. Ting Wen looked really emotional after her 100-meter freestyle. This may be her last SEA Games, but I think we're in very good hands with this next generation of swimmers. You know, they're all so young, but they all obviously can handle the pressure that's been given to them and perform on a big stage.
Well, Thailand had the lead after 200 meters, but from there on, the moment Kwa Ting Wen plunged into the pool with her underwaters and breakout, there was only going to be one winner. And I love that shot of the elder sister just behind, telling the younger sister, it's your turn to bring it home, because this is your time, this is your games. And Kwa Ting Wen heeded the call of her sister and the nation for gold for Singapore, and the look on their faces of the new SEA Games record, totally exhilarating. It never gets old for Kwa Ting Wen in a relay squad. This record takes down her very own time that she set, of course, with Amanda, Mylene and Lynette in 2009. And back then, they had this same reaction too.
Five gold medals for the Quad siblings. How amazing is that?
On the night itself, yep, absolutely right. New SEA Games record yet again. Look at that winning margin. We thought it might be close. We thought the Thais might give them a fight, but in the end, the fight was for silver, because the Thais had to ward off the Philippines and their final charge ahead of the Indonesians, who had looked good for a while. But Singapore, that winning margin, 5.7 seconds, more than 5.7 seconds over second spot. And Kwa Ting Wen's pointing to the fact that it had a little cut on her swimsuit, and she was swimming with it. It's not advisable, isn't it, with the water leak inside? I know it's very tight, these things, but with the water leak inside when she's swimming,
causes more of a drag as well if you think about it.
Well, if you consider that, she did extremely well.
Kind of see like what happens during and after the races, but today's kind of been on my mind a lot, just because, you know, I've never actually done 3 races back to back before, but it helps having people in the stands and, you know, the coaches on the side. I've had so many people tell me just take it one event at a time, and I did that, and it worked.
I mean, so what you mean is the supporters and your friends and family, they powered you through those 3 races?
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how much it means when you look up, or just think about all the people supporting you and rooting for you even back home, and it just helps. I think especially when you're behind the blocks, alone, but you know, you kind of have in your mind, you know, that there are a bunch of people there behind you.
I answer the same question, you know, now all three have a medal. All the parents feel.
We've actually been going back to the hotel pretty late, so I haven't actually had a chance to actually speak to my parents face to face, but I think I should be pretty pleased.
Maybe talk a bit about how three of you feel this situation to be better swimmers. I mean, what's it like? How do you guys motivate each other?
I guess it's just like really good to have a familiar face with you training and pushing you to each other's limits. But you know, they say swimming's an individual sport, but it's really not. Like, we've been through like all of us, even like my friends and my teammates, we've been through so many half sets and during like the 10 times a week together. So it's like we're like a really tight-knit family. So it's just nice to look around and see the support that you have around you.
You guys won it last night in game record time. Does it motivate you to do the same thing?
Definitely. I mean, we always train together on as a team. So I mean, the games record wasn't gonna in our mind. Like, we just wanted to do a good race. So definitely, the goal and the games record is really all glory to God.
So towards the end, at the lead, you didn't think about the game record at all?
Okay, we came out of pain.
So yeah.
Alright. What do you think which is the most important thing today?
nervous for the 100 freestyle just because, I mean, it's the first of 3 events. I came into the night really nervous, just kind of like being very overwhelmed by all the events. So getting the 100 freestyle out of the way was a major relief, but it didn't take away anything from the 50 fly. I was very close. I came out and the first thing my brother said to me was that I had a very bad touch. And this relay is very important. All relays actually, but I mean I remember this one 2 years ago and we had like Rachel and Christy on the same team, so we all remember how it's always close with Thailand. So this one, I can't tell you which one means the most. They're all good in their own way.
Even your birthday present is a good related birthday present.
Oh, you keep saying that right on the birthday. You know, someone asked me at the airport because we left on the 18th last Friday, and to be honest, I haven't actually thought about it much just because I've been so, everything on my mind is more about the game, so I think I'll celebrate properly when I go back home. Sorry?
She just said like she loved me. And it just warms my heart to know that, you know, she's behind me and cheering me on and some of my teammates, and it's just comforting. Yeah.
Sorry, she actually said I love you.
Yeah, she's like, oh God, this love you. And I was like, oh, love you too.
Okay? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
The victory ceremony for the men's 200 meters backstroke upcoming.
Men's 200 meters backstroke. Please,
well, Gerald talked about it. It's 5 gold medals tonight for Singapore and also the Kwa family. And I can also tell you that it is 10 gold medals in all from these SEA Games so far for the Kwa family. The trio of Zhengwen, Jingwen and Tingwen. And in this event, Hua Zhengwen proves once again there is no one close to him in Southeast Asia, although Francis Fong did try to make it close this time around in a huge surprise, which might see the emergence of a new backstroke specialist in Singapore. And it's perfect timing as well, because if you think about it, Gerald, Hua Zhengwen is concentrating so much now on the 200 meters butterfly. It's good that someone is upcoming and actually trying to take his place in this event.
Yes, I think so. You know, with Zheng focusing more on the 200 meter butterfly, where he's trying to break into the top 8 in the world. We've seen him focus a little bit less on the backstroke events. We still could possibly see him participate in the 100 meter backstroke, but given what happened tonight and his comments after the race, how painful it was, I won't be surprised seriously if he dropped this 200 meter backstroke from his schedule in future.
Ricky Angawijaja, former champion in this event, has to settle for bronze this time to 2 Singaporeans. It's the 7th game in a row that Singapore have won a medal in this event. And Zhengwen has won it back-to-back. Can you imagine, before Zheng actually won it in 2015, we hadn't had a gold medalist since Zach Ong in 2009. So the wait was over. Ricky Angawijaja was winning along with Igode Sudatawa in the interim, and then Zhengwen has taken over. And maybe this boy for Manila 2019 might be standing at the top of the podium. You never know. That was a fantastic swim from Francis Fong.
I think he would. I wouldn't count him out. I think he's going to be the hot favorite going into the next SEA Games. He's only 17 years old. He's improved so much. Look at his height as well. He's actually even taller than Chen Wen at 17 years old. So he's got the height, he's got the body, he's got the attributes of a swimmer. So he's obviously got very good strokes as well. Something a little bit unique, but it works for him. He's done so well. I think he'll be someone that we need to watch out for.
And ladies and gentlemen,
and for Kwa Chen Wen, a gold medal that takes him level with Ang Ping Seong in terms of individual gold medals. 8 gold medals now for Kwa Chen Wen, and in this event he joins an elite field. If you hear the names, you will know how elite it is. Alex Lim, Raymond Papa, David Lim, and Lukman Niodi. He's the 5th one to win this in back-to-back SEA Games, and that is some company to be part of.
ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Singapore.
The 4th time tonight, Majula Singapura has played at the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Centre, and the 5th will come in a while when the women's quartet to receive their gold medal. Kwa Chen Wen is very much a part of the men's quartet. That happens tomorrow in the 4x200 meters freestyle. And it wasn't as if he was allowing Francis to come back into the race. He was trying his best. He actually lowered his very own SEA Games record, but Francis just went crazy quick. Something furious and something just clicked inside of his head for tonight and made him a crazy, insane man in the pool.
Francis actually overtook Kwa Chen Wen at the 375 meter mark, right? And I thought Francis was going to win it, and then again, we see the competitor in Chen Wen and the Kwa siblings, right? They have this racing mentality within themselves. And Chen Wen actually sped up a little bit towards the end, the last 10 strokes maybe. That's when he went ahead of Francis again. But I think Francis did overtake him at some point in time of the race.
What a night it has been for Singapore. It started with Joe Schooling becoming the first Southeast Asian to go below 52 seconds in winning the 100 meters butterfly. As I said, that race was probably won at the last Olympic Games because it was almost a foregone conclusion. He's just a class apart from the rest of Southeast Asia in the 100 fly. And then Kwa Chen Wen in the closest race of these games and the most exciting race won the 100 meters freestyle, just 0.01 seconds ahead of Nguyen Tian Vien. Wilson Sim in another close race, one of the closest 200 meters freestyle races over the years of the SEA Games, beat out Huang Ki Fok. Danny Yeo clinched bronze with a personal best time in that event. Then Tingwen came back to the pool and won in the 50 meters butterfly. Also a close race ahead of Janjira Srisaad. Kwa Tung-wen himself winning in the 200 back in a closer than we thought race against Francis Fong. And of course the 4x200 meters freestyle, which was one-way traffic the moment Kwa Tung-wen took the plunge as the second leg swimmer. So let's have a look at that once again. The 4x200 meters freestyle. It has been a day that was bookended by one-horse races, but in between those we've had really competitive races in this day of competition. So that was I believe the first leg swimmer touching home second. But how about this? This is when Tingwen took the plunge, and the moment she surfaced, Singapore were all of a sudden in the lead.
That's such a great shot, right? That's what we've been talking about, you know, for the past 3 days. The butterfly kicks that we've only really seen most of the Singaporean swimmers do. I mean, if you think about it, it's Joseph Schooling we're talking about, Chen Wen, Ting Wen, and Jing Wen that have really used that to their advantage. And we've seen that with Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte. A lot of swimmers have that. A lot of world-class swimmers have done that.
Yep, they always have that in the locker. And my favorite shot of that race was Ting Wen actually saying "go time" hello to her sister Jing Wen. It was almost as if it's a shot of her passing the torch over to the next generation of swimmers. It was a perfect picture moment and a perfect moment captured on screen. That was the 5th gold medal for Singapore tonight, and she too is starting to enjoy soaking in the atmosphere. She was a very shy lass in the first SEA Games, totally different now. That's what a gold medal, an individual gold medal, can do to your psyche.
I think the pressure is off her. She's just going to go out there and have a good time, enjoy herself at every single race. And usually that's when you get a lot of good times, right? When you're not as nervous. You know, you go out there, make sure you just execute your race, and knowing that you're putting in all the work, and so long as you execute the plan that you and your coach have come up with, you know the result is going to be there.
Well, we're talking about the highlights. It started, of course, with Joe with a third biggest winning margin in the history of the 100 meters butterfly for men, winning over Triadi Fauzi. And then this was the closest race which elicited this magnificent emotion from Kwa Tung-wen. And a moment to savor for Malaysia, because Wilson Sim went into the pool, and this, well, we knew it was going to be Wilson and Wong Ki Fok, but we didn't expect the race to pan out this way, and how close it was as well.
It was such a close race. It was an exciting race. I think it was the race that we were most looking forward to, right? It's both of them did really well, and they've really brought this event to a different level. You know, and I think they're going to be very competitive within the Asian space as well.
Danny Yeo, remember, clocked a personal best in it. Kwa Tung-wen was behind Janjira after 25 meters, after 35 of that 50 meters butterfly race, and the Olympian Kwa Tung-wen, he took the plunge as red hot favorites, leading wire to wire, although he didn't expect that late charge to come from Francis Fong. This sets up very nicely for the 100 meters backstroke between these two Singaporeans to your left and E. Gade Siman Suratawa.
This could also be a little bit interesting in terms of who's going to swim the 4x100 medley relay, because initially we thought that Zheng would definitely swim the backstroke with Joseph Butterfly and maybe Darren on the freestyle. But given how well Francis has done, they could switch the order around. Maybe have Francis do the backstroke instead, Joe do the fly, maybe Zheng Wen do the freestyle.
You never know. You never know. But then again, they might actually just go with Francis doing the back, and then Zheng Wen doing the fly, and Joseph doing Joseph doing the breaststroke.
Exactly. So these guys are so good in their events.
That's right.
So good in more than one event. They're probably the fastest in more than one event, that allows them this flexibility.
And Joseph is so good, he probably can do the breaststroke as well and win it too. I mean, you never know, because Joseph is so good at almost everything. Remember, he's an individual medley swimmer.
Yes.
And I remember at the last SEA Games, he actually caught up with the field at the breaststroke leg. So, you know, there is a certain thing about Joseph. Well, I don't think they're going to mess up the order that much with Joseph swimming the breaststroke. That is out of order. But definitely it does add up to different permutations there, and who knows, Francis Fong might be a very late inclusion into the 4x100 medley, because we were for sure in the world thinking it's going to be Zheng Wen, Joseph, probably Lionel Koo, and then Danny Yeo or Darren Lim taking it home. That was really in our minds, but with Francis Fong and the form that he's shown here, he might have a loud shout at the end to say to his coaches Vidma and Gary Tan that, hey, don't forget about me, I could be another option for you. The ties have been disappointing in these games thus far, with only one gold medal won by Keaton Nutapong. And their female squad that I remember in the 1990s were almost unbeatable, the likes of Chonatom, Foratomrong, Prapansan, Min Prapan. And those ladies, they just dominated the swimming scene in the 1990s, and Singapore only got in the medals due to the excellence of Jocelyn Yeo during that period of time. And they also had a cracked men's squad as well, not just Ratapong Srintanot, but the Setsaton brothers were pretty good too. So it's quite disappointing that the ladies squad that took back so many gold medals, especially in 2007, now 10 years down the road, we're almost seeing the same swimmers still in 2017. So Gerald, you're absolutely right, they need that fresh face to come out and take their scene by storm pretty soon.
And the times have not improved as well, right? Not only are you seeing the older swimmers continue to swim, but the times have not improved. I was looking at the 200-meter backstroke. I think the time that the Thai guy did was the time that the Thai swimmers were doing 15 years ago. So they haven't really brought the swimming to a different, to another level, the way that you've been seeing the Singapore swim team do.
Yep, just relying on a breaststroke swimmer of Keaton Nutapong's stance and standards, probably not good enough. And then again, he swims tomorrow in the 200 meters individual medley and might win them their second goal of the meet. At least the Indonesian have got a bunch of male swimmers that might be in with a shout, just born in a different generation, in the wrong generation, I guess you could say. But if you have a look at the female swim teams in Southeast Asia, aside from Vietnam, and even the Vietnamese, they've only got that one, which is Nguyen Thian Vien. You look at the likes of Malaysia, Indonesia and Thailand, you'll understand why Singapore, with their women's side, even with the youngsters, would probably go on for the next couple of SEA Games, probably even more, and dominate these freestyle relays and medley relays.
It is, and we shouldn't overlook the amount of work that the association has done, the amount of planning that they've done in terms of building up this second generation of swimmers, right? It's not easy. I mean, you just spoke about how it's a pity that Thailand have not been able to carry on the momentum that they've seen 10 years ago. So it's a mistake that we definitely do not want to follow here in Singapore, and it's all due to the planning, the long-term planning that the association has put in place in terms of the next 5 years, next 10 years. How do we want to do this? How do we want to grow the sport? How do we want to identify new swimmers who are talented when they're at a very young age?
Well, they certainly have identified 3 in this event to join Ting Wen for a gold medal on the podium with a huge margin of victory over their nearest rivals.
And we have not spoken about the Joseph schooling effect that you mentioned yesterday as well, right? I think now with what Joseph has done, what Zheng Wen has done, you're going to get more and more kids growing up that want to become swimmers. So the pool of swimmers are going to grow bigger. The opportunity to pick them up is going to be a lot easier.
The Philippines, with Jasmine Alcalde anchoring the squad. 3 individual events for her today, 3 bronze medals. She must be very sick of the sight of Kwa Ting Wen, at least for this day. They'll be friends after that, for sure, but that sinking feeling of seeing that tall Singapore lads beside you at the starting blocks and always winning sometimes can have that demoralizing effect.
Thank you.
Natanan Junkrajong. I just heard at the start of the day, this is her final SEA Games.
Then Japon Sri
Phanonton of Thailand, open water swimming silver medalist. She will be in the reckoning in the 800 meters freestyle and the 400 too, where she skipped that event to concentrate on the longer races, thinking it was Tian Vien's to lose. She was right about that, so she might be looking forward to it. And for Natanan, final individual race might just be the 50 meters freestyle. So for the 5th Games in a row, the gold in the 4x200 meters freestyle women goes to Singapore. And looking at the age of the squad, that streak might just go on for another 5 games in a row. Remember, Thailand won the first 6. Now Singapore are just 1 behind and catching them for the most goals in this event since it was introduced in 1997. And Tingwen has been a part of it on 4 of the 5 occasions which they've won.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Singapore.
Congratulations, girls. Tingwen, Rachel, Christy and Tingwen, gold medal winners in the 4x200 meters freestyle, and an almost perfect night for Singapore, winning 5 out of 6 gold medals and defending all their titles on day 3 of competition of the swimming competition at the 29th Southeast Asian Games. Speaking of defending titles, I hear that Veronica Shanti Pereira is defending her crown in the 200 meters in track and field. So let's go over right now to the National Stadium to witness that.
marilah kita alih pandangan ke acara balapan 200 meter wanita yang akan berlangsung di peringkat akhir. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to
Ronnie Malapai, after 4 rounds, finds himself battling to get back into medal contention.
Final will be run shortly. Kindly take note. Para hadirin sekalian, telah bersedia dan juga membuat persiapan kita serta peserta bagi acara 200 meter wanita akhir yang akan dilangsungkan tepat pukul 9.30 malam nanti. Jadi kali ini juga berlangsungnya acara.
Well, he got that wrong. Just got it completely wrong. Couldn't find himself finding enough momentum.
Dan dipaparkan kini 2-0 senarai peserta bagi acara 200 meter wanita akhir.
Now, this is the start list for the women's 200-meter final. Kugapriya Chandran of Singapore, Tasapon Vanakit, Thailand, Letu Chin of Vietnam. She will be certainly among the favourites. Let's introduce the athletes.
5'6" Kugapriya Chandran representing Singapore.
Kugapriya Chandran, just 19 years old. 25-21 in the 2015 final.
Lane 3, 601, Tasapon Vanakit, representing Thailand.
Tasapon Vanakit goes in lane 3, 24.84 in the preliminaries for the oldest competitor in the field at 28.
617, Letu Chin, representing Vietnam.
Letu Chin of Vietnam, well set for another gold medal. Looked so easy on her way to the 100 gold. The fastest woman in Southeast Asia. Can she double up with 100 and 200? And she's going to have a tough battle against a number of athletes, including Zaidatul Husnia Pinzul Kifli. Malaysian support almost deafening for the athletes. Now, Kayla Anise Richardson, just 19 years old. She was the 100-meter champion in Singapore 2 years ago. She opted out of the 100 to focus on winning the 200. She finished behind Veronica Shanti Pereira, who goes alongside her in the 2015 final. So the defending champion of Singapore, 23.60 at the 2015 games, on her way to the gold medal.
557, Zion Rose Nelson, representing the Philippines.
Zion Rose Nelson, just 18 years old, based in the United States. Jamaican father, Philippines mom.
580, Kanyarat Pakdi, representing
Kanyarat Pakdi of Thailand.
The women's 200 meters final.
Going in the outside lane, lane 9. The 200 meter is about speed, certainly, but it's also about how you run a bend. And this is where Letu Chin won't fancy herself. And she's already managed to convert her junior success into senior success by claiming the title of Southeast Asia's fastest woman with a fine run in the 100 meter on her way to gold. Can she double up? Claim 100 and 200 meter double. Veronica Shanti Pereira, the defending champion, going in lane 7 for Singapore. It's a good-looking start for Richardson, going inside of Singapore's Shanti Pereira, but immediately on her inside, Zulkifli of Malaysia, 23.96 in the preliminaries. But look at the way that Letu Chin is going of Vietnam. 23.65. By the time she hit the straight, she was well in front. Zulkifli putting herself in medal contention here, and the defending champion might even be challenging for the silver here. Shanti Pereira, it's gold for Letu Chin, only just on the line. Zulkifli has just got the silver, and bronze to the defending champion. Veronica Shanti Pereira doesn't break the SEA Games record, 23.31 for Letu Chin, but another comfortable performance from the Vietnamese athlete. She has claimed the 100 and 200 meter double at the SEA Games of 2017. With an immaculate display of sprinting. She was confident in all her heat victories across the 2 days, 100 and 200. For Zulkifli, she was challenging for that top spot again, just not to be. She's been in fine form throughout the season. She ran a very fast 23.8 seconds at the Pildage track in Pretoria in South Africa this season. It's at high altitude, so you can expect it to be a little faster. But a very good performance to challenge for a medal. And Veronica Chanti-Pereira will have to settle for bronze in the 200 as she did in the 100. But a tough ask against Le Thu Chin, who's just come rising through the ranks, soaring through. Zulkifli cutting it very fine around the bend, nearly trading out of her lane at one stage. Veronica Chanti-Pereira's got such a strong finish as well, and she was closing in on Zulkifli in the closing stages. But Le Thu Chin, there was only one winner in this race. She was in command of it from start to finish. She ran the bend superbly. Despite the fact that she didn't get off to an explosive start, she was able to dominate once she got into her stride, and she takes the gold and the sprint double at the 2017 SEA Games. Le Thu Chin, 20 years old, and indeed a very promising career ahead of her. Looking anxiously to see if she had broken the SEA Games record, Supavadi Kauperg's 23:30, which was set back on this track in 2001. But Zaidatul Husnia Zulkifli, 23:64. A silver medal for the home favourite. Confirmation of the result. Well, it's not a SEA Games record, but 23:32 is a fast time. It's been rounded up to for Le Thu Chin, the champion, the sprint double. Husnia bin Zulkifli, silver and bronze to Veronica Chanti-Pereira of Singapore, as both Philippine sprinters miss out.
Tontonan puan-puan, sebentar lagi kita akan saksikan satu lagi acara yang begitu kita nanti-nantikan, yaitu acara 200 meter lelaki peringkat akhir. Sebelum kita saksikan acara 200 meter lelaki peringkat akhir,
the men's triple jump continues. Antoine An of Vietnam outside the middle placings currently. Just around the 15-meter mark, perhaps just a little short of it.
Di antara 8 atlet yang akan mengambil bagian dalam acara 200 meter ini mampu mencatatkan satu.
John knows he's not challenging for a medal. He just seems to be enjoying himself and competing in the final.
Dirampas oleh peserta dari Malaysia yaitu Hafiz Janta mengungguli acara 100 meter. Untuk acara seterusnya yaitu acara 200 meter yang akan berlangsung sebentar lagi.
Antoine An, 15:31 is his best jump. He'll finish 8th in the men's triple jump final. Now, there's an opportunity for the former champion to finish off on a high, currently out of the medals. His best jump was his last jump, a 16.12. He's got a complete collection of medals over the last 3 SEA Games. Won silver in 2011, gold in 2013 and bronze last time out in Singapore. So a complete collection of medals already. I'd love to be in the medals again. Oh, I'm not sure he's done enough here. No, shake of the head from him. He knows he hasn't done enough. Well, he's ended the series strong. Men's triple jump final being dominated by Mohammed Hakimi Ismail of Malaysia. Will carry Dionis of Philippines, pushing him the entire way.
Degupan jantung kian memuncak untuk menyaksikan acara balapan yang pastinya akan memberikan satu persaingan cukup hebat yang akan kita saksikan sebentar saja, yaitu acara 200 meter laki-laki. Dan telah dipaparkan di papan skor kali ini peserta yang akan berlari satu lagi.
So Nguyen Van Hung finishes in 4th place overall.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to witness the men's.
Now for the men's 200-meter final. This should be an intense affair between some very competitive individuals. Jan Christian of Philippines, Mudiasa of Indonesia, Hafiz bin Jantam of Malaysia, Minapra of Thailand, Biram of Philippines, Firdaus of Brunei, looking for Brunei's first track and field medal, Punpa of Thailand, and Gunasagan of Malaysia. The athletes that have made it through to the men's 200-meter final.
Ladies and gentlemen,
so the athletes, as they start,
representing the Philippines,
John Christian, a man who ran 21.5 in the preliminaries in the semi-finals, representing the Philippines. Alongside him, from Indonesia, Made Mudiasa of Indonesia, also 21.5 in the preliminaries. Here's a man who is proving rather popular in Malaysia right now, Hairul Hafiz Jantan. 21.36 in qualifying, ran a poor bend, but has the flat speed. We know he is the 100-meter champion, and this man is dangerous. Bronze medalist in 2015, but he won the 100 and 200-meter double in Naypyidaw 2013. Tirapong Minapra of Thailand goes in lane 5.
Lane 6, 209, Anthony Beram, representing
Trenton Anthony Beram, 21-year-old from the Philippines, ran a 20.96 at the Asian Championships. He was 20.99 in the semi-finals, quickest qualifier. Alongside him, Mohammed Nur Firdaus of Brunei, 21.39, and looking for Brunei's first athletics medal at the SEA Games of 2017. Man running for Thailand, quite happy to run for the country. Siripul Punpa will go in lane 8.
running in lane 9.
And another Malaysian athlete, Arvind Tebar Gunasagan, a 23-year-old Malaysian. There was a bit of a hit at the Malaysian Open in July, 21.31. 21.42 in the semi-finals. Sees him on the outside lane. Who will it be? Only Minapra remains of the medalists from 2015. The man who won the sprint double in 2011. The much talked about, much vaunted 19-year-old talented superstar Khairul Hafiz bin Jantam took silver in the 200 at the Asian Junior Championships last year. The 100-meter champion. But Anthony Biram of Philippines, the only sub-21 runner in the preliminaries. Getting away very fast indeed, the man from the Philippines, Biram, in lane 6. And on his inside, looks like Minapra is doing a little bit to catch him. They passed the athletes on their outside, and really looking for the flat speed now is Khairul Hafiz bin Jantam. He's not going to win this. It's going to be Biram all the way. Minapra is going to hold on for the silver here, surely. And Malaysia is going to get a bronze, but who's it going to be? It looks like Jantan is out of the medals. The 100 champion, Biram, is celebrating a very fine run, 20.83 from Anthony Biram of the Philippines. Another sub-21 second run. Jirapong Minapra, bronze in 2015, gold in 2013. Looks like he's added a silver to his collection and completed the 200-meter medals. But Malaysia have got a bronze. It looked like Kunasagan, going in lane 9, actually got Jantan on the line. We'll wait to see which of the athletes is confirmed as claiming a bronze, but they were the two who were running neck and neck. Jantan was going to be out of the medals, I fear. Now, this is something that might come down to a bit of a photo finish. It was a little unclear. It was certainly clear that Philippines have got the gold and that Thailand have the silver. Minapra with another solid run. Well, in the semi-finals, he took his vest off and became very, very popular with the crowd. And I can tell you, I can confirm that it is Gunasagan who's actually beaten Bin Jantam at the post. So the 100-meter gold medalist fails to medal in the 200-meter. Despite having broken a Malaysian 200-meter record that had stood for 49 years in July. The celebrations, though, rightly for this man of the Philippines, Anthony Biram, 20.99 in the preliminaries. And a particularly powerful run, cutting that by 1600ths of a second in the final to claim the gold. And Philippines can add yet another impressive performance.